I'm here to kick ass and paint minis, and I'm all out of ass on the podcast known as
Trapped Under Plastic, the podcast where two dudes with all the free time in the world humbly promise to start a new convention, write a display mode war game, produce a miniature painting competition game show, and launch a magazine.
Yes, that's us. We have all the ideas and none of the execution.
That is the best way to do life, though, isn't it?
It is. But today is a special day. We have guests, Ollie and Ciara from Broadsword Wargaming. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Jet lagged.
Jet lagged, yes. You came all the way from Ireland to here, and your first stop in America was in
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, and you're here for like vacation right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
much.
wonderful.
They call it a holiday.
holiday.
I'm on my holidays, mate.
And before the episode was recording, Ollie was trying to figure out like what version of like Englishman he wanted to put on for the show. We were considering changing it every like 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Scouser.
So, Ollie, you're from England, but your shop, which we'll get into the shop later, is in Ireland.
That's right.
Are you still a foreigner, and does everyone hate you?
No, actually, everyone hates me probably.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. But I did, the other day I had my first realization that I now think in euros.
Oh,
Like, I said, like, oh, it's like £10 or 10 quid, and I meant like euros. I no longer go like pound to euro to dollar. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
I've moved over one now.
wow.
So,
Assimilating.
yeah.
Okay, in the UK, do they use miles per hour?
Yeah.
Okay, do they use the same in Ireland?
Kilometers.
No, we're kilometers.
Kilometers. Okay, so have you transferred over to kilometers yet?
I think
or-
so, yeah.
Okay,
What are you
wow.
guys? What do you hear?
We're miles per hour.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we come from our imperial overlords, we also use the imperial system. Yeah,
That's the way of it.
Yeah, that's the way of it. That's the way of it.
But they're called freedom units here.
Yeah, we changed the name. Same thing. We just changed the
How many
name.
America units have you got? That's what it is.
All right, so when we start each episode, we start with what we call the Preamble Ramble, guys. And so this is where we talk about whatever we want. And I wanted to start this off to give you the true American experience and how I do that. And I made the mistake of not bringing guns. We talked about this before the podcast started, that you could shoot guns out of the back of my truck. And when I sorely regret not doing that for you. But the second runner-up I have is American soft drinks.
Okay.
So I've got something for everybody here. Scott, please fill the dead air as I pass these out.
Okay. So my Preamble Ramble topic is I played Commander Magic the Gathering,
Ooh.
which I know John's going to be so proud of me for doing.
I'm so excited right now.
And that was a fun experience. I gotta play a vampire deck. Is the name Strafon mean anything to you, John? Is that a commander in Magic? Or like
Stefan
Stefan,
is a
okay.
character played by Bill Hader on Saturday Night Live.
Okay, thank you.
So
Okay. Wait, so is it not a vampire at all in Magic?
it probably is.
Okay.
All right, and this one's for Scott because he asked me to bring him a Dr. Pepper cream soda zero.
Yeah.
Cream soda.
Oh, you've never had cream soda?
No. Cream soda?
We're just gonna mock
had
each
it.
other the entire podcast.
Yeah, I'm just going to mock you guys. You've not had butter before?
He's doing it.
Yeah, it's happened. 5 minutes in. I'm
We're
American
doing
now.
it.
All right, so this is special edition 2023 Mountain Dew Zero Sugar Voodoo Edition. This is the mystery Halloween flavor, as it is the season, and every year they give a new flavor, and it's a mystery what it is. I think this one's pretty good, but I want you to try it for yourself.
Okay, there's a
Get
bit of fucking
Mountain Dew.
There's a bit of magic in there, dude. A bit of voodoo.
Yeah, there's extra chemicals because it's American.
Extra chemicals. Probably stuff that's all banned.
Yeah, you can't have this.
Oh shit. The cream soda zero is pretty fucking good.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah.
Wait,
I would
guess it's
definitely swap
cherry?
this out.
It's a bit like a Dr. Pepper.
It's a cherry flavor, I think.
It's like a fruity.
I like it.
It's nice.
It's like tie-dye the drink, I
I don't
think.
know if I've ever
You don't
had
have to
one.
lie to us. If it's shit, tell us.
I
it's
know, I
shit.
like
No, I
it.
think it's cherry
I'm just trying to check what chemicals are in it because, America.
This is what I've noticed about them, John. Is they're just very polite, and whenever you ask them opinions, like, oh, I'll do whatever. It's fine. I don't care.
I can't sustain that for the next. If we hit the longer we hear, that will fall. Right? Like, I can't hold that up.
The politeness
Yeah,
dissolves.
it goes. I have to pretend to be nice. Right? The reality is asshole.
I do like that.
Do you?
Yeah, I like it. We had another mystery flavor drink the last day. What was it?
Oh, it was like the Magic Coke one. Whatever. What was that?
It was futuristic. Flavor.
Futuristic Coca-Cola.
The flavor was literally called futuristic Coke.
Yeah.
And it was awful.
It was,
Just tastes
it was
like
bad.
tears and garbage.
Yeah, just like Bitcoin and NFTs.
Dow Jones. I don't know.
The Dow Jones. All right, awesome. So yeah, about Magic the Gathering, I played Commander. It was awesome. Had a lot of fun. It was only 1v1, so it wasn't like the real Commander experience.
Fake Commander.
Yeah, so it wasn't the true experience, but it was a lot of fun. I got totally smoked. My buddy had this card that was an enchantment, and when he played it, it doubled the power of every one of his creeps. And so I had a chump block until I just died, basically. Because I was like, if I get hit once, I'm dead.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah, because like I think if you take 21 damage from a commander, you just lose.
Yes.
And so his commander was like strength 30, and so I was just like chump blocking with vampires until I was like, okay,
Oh, no.
I lose now. I had no removal spells to get rid of the enchantment. So
Yeah, that's part of the thing in Commanders when you're playing with 4 people. You got if someone creates a problem, like that dude is a problem, you have 3 people. One person is all that's needed to solve the problem.
okay,
When it's just you, you're just hosed.
okay, yeah.
So,
If someone else starts going off, right, someone else will step in. Be like,
Yeah.
I've got you, buddy.
Yeah.
And then you stab them in the back, kill them,
Yeah,
kill the other guy, and you win.
Are you guys big CCG players, big card game players?
You do. You play a
I
lot.
used to play a lot of Magic. Yeah.
Okay.
You got a lot of Pokemon, actually, didn't you?
Yeah,
You
you
got
tried
into
to teach me Magic once, and that
was
did
the end of
not
that.
go well, yeah.
Yeah, you did one bit, you're like,
I think whatever deck I had was really token heavy, and I was like, I'm going to have to do maths.
yeah.
No one
not
said
okay.
I had to do maths. to
maths
play
and
this
reading,
game.
like, the 2 least fun things to do. Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't for me, yeah.
You do Pokemon.
Yeah, I enjoy Pokemon.
Yeah.
Just for the nostalgia, I think, more than anything. but-
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's easy because it's for children.
Cool. Whoa, wow.
Whoa. Oh,
Fucking roasted, dude.
It started. I take that back. Sorry to all children watching this.
fall down.
Yeah. It took how long? 10 minutes.
You've offended all children watching the show now.
I have a theory that no child actually knows how to play the Pokemon game.
Absolutely
I
not.
did it. I collected it and no idea how to play.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
100% do not.
Every child that like nieces and nephews or friends that have kids that collect Pokemon, I'm like, awesome, let's play. Because I used to, when Pokemon first came out, I collected and played the game, and I knew how to play it, and that was probably 20 years ago. And so when kids have it, I'm like, awesome, remind me how to play. And they're like, I just put this on, and then I get to attack you. I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Mate, I'll teach them a lesson. I'll just destroy them. Destroy their favourite Pokemon. Who's your favourite Eevee? Put that one out then. Dead. What's next to dead?
Rip it up.
Not even KO'd, just dead. But like, that's true. Like in the
Yeah.
shop, like kids don't know how to play Pokemon, but they like the shiny
You
ones.
come in and ask to be taught how to play. I've run a few through some demo games, but they actually have no interest. And if their parents weren't standing there, I'd just be like, we're done.
Yeah, you go home.
Have the
We're a
adults.
really welcoming shop, guys.
Yeah.
You're done.
Banned.
But it is legal gambling for children, really, is what it is. Like, you get a pack of cards and looking for the shinies, and then you get the endorphins, and like, Mom, I need another one. It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I
They
get
had to
it.
ban them in our my daughter's school. They banned them altogether
Wow.
because the older kids were scamming the younger kids.
Oh,
my
trade-
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trade scams. I used to do that with baseball cards with kids in elementary school.
Yeah,
so
I could see you doing
Yeah.
that.
yeah, I mean, I got all the Jose Canseco rookies. Only like 6 audience listeners are going to get that, but that's okay.
And that was you only last year, right?
Yeah, it was just last year.
Come on, elementary school. Hey, kids,
go to the
you
elementary.
want to see my baseball card collection? Yeah. This is Jose, whoever it was. There you go, look.
He brought
Jose?
guns and baseball cards.
Jose's in the back of my van. Come let you. Yeah. Restraining order.
Done. Yeah, cancelled.
Yeah. Okay, so you played Magic, so
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
so
I played Magic, Flesh and Blood, and Shatterpoint this past weekend. I
Wow.
played a lot of games. Yeah.
Jesus, that's way more games than I played.
Yeah.
Although tomorrow I'll be playing Magic and D&D and going to a small local convention and probably playing some weird game that the creator of the game is there, and you have to feign interest that it's a really exciting game.
Yeah.
You're like, wow,
That's hard. Yeah.
and then you have to exercise the ghosts. Wow.
Yeah, when you're stuck in a demo, it's like a bad demo, and like you're not gonna just be like, "This game is trash." See ya. Like you got to see it all the way through. Yeah.
I went to that one in La Crosse a couple months ago. Is this another small one? And
What's it called? Which one was that called?
Shoot.
Something. No. I was gonna say something con. Like no shit. It's called
They're all
something
con.
con.
CoolieCon.
CoolieCon. Yeah.
So I went to
that's what it is.
CoolieCon and I went through all the vendor areas, and I was looking at this table and it was just a bunch of books. And at first I thought it was like D&D supplement books, and I picked one up and I started flipping through the pages and I realized it was a novel. And this creepy old man came and sat down behind, and because there was no one at the booth, and he sat down and he's like, started telling me all about his novels. This dude had written all these books, and they looked like they were like printed out in his garage, and he was so excited about them, and I felt so bad, so I bought a 5-book series for like
Seriously?
for like $120 because I felt bad. And he was really super excited about these books, and I was like, okay, I'll give them a shot. So they're sitting on my end table now, and I'm just the one thing I can console myself with is I'm sure, never having read a single chapter in any of these books, I'm sure they're better than 40K books.
Ooh, shots
Burn.
fired.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on 40K books? Or just GW books in general?
I
Black
tried with the Horus Heresy ones, and I do like them, but they're so heavy.
Yes.
So I started reading some of the Age of Sigmar standalone books, and they're great.
Okay, I've never read the
really good.
standalone ones.
Yeah, I've only just started getting into the Age of Sigmar ones as well. Like I was a fantasy player, right? Whatever. That was like how many years ago that was. But like I've started reading the Age of Sigmar ones now, and I quite like them. I like Stormcast, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maybe.
I'm sorry for that.
You should apologize.
Yeah, I do. I feel bad for it, but I've been reading a couple of those. They were right. Like I read a lot of the Warhammer books, loads of them. I used to read the old ones back in whenever. Like the Vampire Counts trilogy one was cool.
Yeah, the Von
Really like
Carson
that one.
trilogy. Yeah,
It's like the Witch Hunter guy, isn't it? And he like I suppose I could put a spoiler. It's like 30 years old.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
like, becomes a vampire, right? And like he ends up like fighting the vampire. It's just cool. Right?
Yes.
That was like the first ones I read. And
Yeah.
then I read loads of like historical stuff, and then I read like Soul Drinkers as well. The Soul Drinkers omnibus years ago. Well, there's 6 of them now. Read those; they were good. There's a few like
omnibuses of Soul Drinker stuff.
six books.
Okay,
Yeah,
books,
I think it was started as a trilogy, then it became like an omnibus, and now it's like 2 omnibuses of 6. I don't know.
So it's like an omnibus, like a really big bus.
Yeah, like a double-decker omnibus, right? Like I think that's what it is now.
This book is so big we put it inside of a fucking bus.
Yeah, that was all right. I read lots of them. Some of them are a bit shite. Some of them.
Yeah.
But
See, the
overall, it's quite fun.
the problem with John is he reads a lot of like books that are like, like good and stuff, and so he has like standards. And so when he like reads like soap opera quality Warhammer books that I fucking love, they're
And they pretty much just go like story, fight, post-fight, story, fight. And they just loop round in an endless circle. Like skip 30 pages, you're in another fight again. And like, do you know what I mean?
I don't know if it's a book thing, but they also love adjectives in Warhammer. Like they describe everything so vividly. They're like, how many words can I use to describe this thing? It's just like adjective.
They use a lot of made-up words.
Of course
so
it
you're just supposed to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
The quantum warp mechanic velocity voluptua thingy is jiggered again. Okay, yeah.
It can feel that way sometimes.
Yeah. The 40K stuff, I felt like no matter, because I jumped around a bunch of different places and asked people like where to start, because I had that same experience. I'm like, I feel like I missed the intro course on whatever it is we're doing here, and the internet then told me, oh, there is no start. It's just like, it's a circle. There's no beginning and no end. So no matter where you jump in, you'll feel lost. I'm like, this sounds terrible. And come to find out it is. But I think the fantasy ones, I haven't read any of the fantasy ones, and I have higher hopes for that. For the Age of Sigmar ones too, because it doesn't feel like there's so much history of like bullshittery of 7,000 authors all didn't know and just kind of threw in stuff, and now that's canon. And it feels like the starting point is not as far back, so we don't have to get so overwhelmed with all of it. But all right, I'll read one and then I'll tell you how terrible it is.
Okay, that's fine. I bet it goes like story, fight, something, adjectives. Someone has like described loads as well. Like I read the Horus Heresy ones, and like Garviel Loken, they're like, oh, you're so straight up and down, Loki, so straight up and down. Tells you that like 50 times in the book. I'm like,
really?
I get it. He's really straight up and down.
Okay,
and, like,
yeah.
The Soul Drinkers has another one. Their character, I think he can like. No, I need to get this right because I apologize to anyone I get this wrong for, obviously. But like, I think he can receive. No, he can send psychic stuff, but he cannot receive it, and it tells you that in the book. Probably every chapter.
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
Sarpedon used the hell, but he can send psychic powers, but he can't receive them.
Okay.
I'm like, I really know that.
I really know that.
I really know he can't do that now. It's like, just in case you forgot again, you can use the hell. I'm like, okay. So there are a few of those.
We got to copy paste this book to make it 600 pages. How do we do that?
What can we do? Find that thing, copy that again. Yeah. There are some good books. The Age of Sigmar ones I've enjoyed just because like I really like fantasy, and I think it's taken till like 3rd edition Age of Sigmar till I even bothered playing it. And like they like reference the old stuff now. They didn't just like get rid of it all. Now like old stuff is relevant. Do you know what I mean? Old characters and that.
Yeah.
So they've like brought a bit of that back in now, and that feels like a bit more fleshed out rather than just let's make some stuff up about whatever.
Okay.
And, like, the game's a bit better now. Like did it? Age of Sigmar like version 1, right? Was
Oh
like,
God, it's so much
like,
better. It's
who's
so
got the
much
biggest
better, yeah.
mustache or whatever? Like,
Yeah,
you win.
yeah,
Okay, great.
right,
My big
yeah.
mustache.
There were rules like that for certain factions where if you
Yeah.
had like the longest beard as a dwarf player, you got to go first or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know what it was. But it was something
Literally, it's exactly like who can shout "wow" or whatever. Like,
yeah.
stuff, like you know.
I mean, that was pretty classic. I don't know if you guys grew up like going to games workshops, but like as like a 10-year-old, like the person who went first in a 40K match was the person who screamed "wog" the loudest. That was like standard in my shop when I was growing up.
And was the shop still the size of a shoebox back then,
It
too?
was, and it was in a mall, like a big mall, like Gurney Mills in Illinois, if you know it. It's like a huge shopping mall. And so we'd be screaming our heads off in this tiny little shoebox store. People are just walking by like, what the fuck is going on in there? They're screaming.
I think that's a lot less sad than it's just like in a strip mall and the doors are closed.
You're kind of right, actually. You're just by yourselves yelling.
Just you, Frank, and then the store manager.
All right, Jimmy, give it a holler.
Yeah.
All right, how's the Preamble Ramble doing? We got more topics to discuss?
I got
How
one.
long does that go on for?
It goes on for 30 years, I think.
30
Yeah.
years. Okay, we'll all be as old as John by the end.
Until we run out of things to talk about since the last time we talked. That is the rules. I bought a power tool for miniature painting, and it just came in the mail the other day. I bought a bench sander. So it's got a belt sander and a circular sander on it. And so this big sanding contraption that costs a lot of money, more money than I probably should have spent, for one purpose I bought it for. I bought it to smooth down display plinths so they're perfectly circular or straight or flat when you build up on the, like you're building up on the back. And so when you build on top of a plinth or you're cutting down in a plinth, and to make it super smooth. And so I bought that on a whim. And so now I kind of decided my shop in my garage, I'm going to end up just buying a bunch of shit that I use once every 18 months.
A tiny little power tool collection.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy the tiny table saw?
I mean, I looked at it after you brought it up. So I had this idea, and the idea has evolved a little bit for a video idea where there's these online stores where they make all this different weird, super niche equipment that's mostly for like scale modelers, for like trains, and for like old cars and stuff like that. And there's a lot of super like niche equipment for that stuff. And Scott told me to buy the table saw, which it looks like a big table saw that just like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was shrunk down to like the size of a deck of cards.
I want one.
Yeah, I know,
Oh, cute table saw.
And you can just like put your little balsa wood strips through it and like,
yeah.
It
But you
literally
could
has no purpose outside of that. Also, a regular table saw would do that same thing.
Yeah, also an X-Acto knife. It's fucking balsa wood. You don't need a table saw.
Just lick it and it breaks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No way to lick it, but yeah.
Coffee stirs. So I was like, oh yeah, all right. I mean, I would get that from the memes. It was like $180, and I was like, I don't know if it's worth that many laughs. It's worth laughs, but maybe not $180 laughs.
Yeah.
What is the shittest tool we ever bought? Oh, you did a review on it.
Oh, a hobby tool.
Yeah, like that paintbrush cleaner thing. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, that
What
wasn't
one? What,
the
specifically for
toilet?
hobby.
No.
Yeah, the spinny and the.
Oh no, no, you got the toilet thing for the water, but no, you got that spinny paintbrush cleaner thing. Do you remember?
That's what we're talking about.
Oh.
Oh no, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for cleaning makeup brushes, but it's like a tiny fish bowl, and then it's an electronic gadget that you stick the brush in, and then it just spins it around really, really fast. So it's like a wash machine for your brush.
Oh yeah, they use those. My wife has one of those for tea. Or like she has this weird tea that she puts the stuff in there and it mixes it really well. I should use hers to clean my brushes.
Yeah.
And then not tell her.
Well, the one I got was terrible. It just
doesn't work?
it flung the brushes like.
I think your closing line was like, if you ever want to buy this, don't, because it's shit. And that was it. It's like,
Damn, I appreciate that.
That's the one that came from like Dragon's Den or something, right?
Yeah.
It was a Dragon's Den winner. Like
It's for makeup
created
brushes,
this thing,
but it does
and
small little.
and it was so shit.
Okay,
was
I
terrible.
don't know if it was Dragon's Den, but they also I think maybe Dragon's Den sent me like a desktop storage thing, kind of like Frontier Wargaming, if you're familiar with that
They
brand.
did the big wooden box things. Right?
Yeah, but this is kind of more of like a permanent setup that has like shelves and stuff, but it was so useless and so not thought out. It was like two shelves, and like the width of them wasn't like double the width of like a Citadel paint pot, so it wasn't like I could like do like too wide, like so like they wouldn't fit, like it fit like 5 like paint products a shelf, and it was like 2 shelves, had like no storage, and like other things they added like made no sense. And I felt like really bad because I was like, what do I do with this? Like I don't want to just lambast it like on a live stream or something like that. So I just kind of put it on top of some storage thing and forgot about it forever.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
It belongs.
Nice. Yeah.
Thanks for that free thing. That was shit.
I think
I don't know if it was Dragon's Den. I don't want to throw him under the bus.
I think a lot of those products that we see are just like repurposed, already exist and are already being made in China, and they buy them at 79 cents a unit, and instead of selling them for $5 a unit, they say it's the hobby version. They sell them for $12 a unit.
Absolutely.
You just described Green Stuff World's whole business model.
Well, they steal it first.
yeah.
And then they go after you legally if you try to do the thing that they stole.
Yeah. They don't even do the market research. They find some other small hobby company that found the thing on China, and then they're like, okay, that's ours now.
And then they patent it so that nobody else can take the thing they stole.
Yeah.
That sounds like the history of England. So we
Whoa. Slow
fired.
down, guys.
Shots fired.
see. Ollie was worried about being an asshole on the show today, so I was like, "Well, just be less of an asshole than me, and you're fine."
Yeah.
Well, I can go higher now, right? You raised the bar, right?
Yeah. You started something.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm sitting up. Right? You can shove your Mountain Dew Zero up your ass. Like, do you know what I mean? No.
You're not going to be able to blink for the next 4 hours after having drank that. But
What is in this? Yeah, I'm shaking.
I think it's called meth. But
Oh, yeah, mountain meth.
All right. Any more for the Preamble Ramble?
I don't have anything. The only other thing I had was slightly depressing, so we're not going to talk about it.
Okay. We can talk about it. We can get serious.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, and maybe you guys can make me feel better. I'm feeling a little bit of burnout lately in my job. So you kind of go through the same routine, which is true of basically any job you have in life. Sometimes it's like I show up to work, I make the cheeseburgers, I use the register, I go home, and you do that every day. But you have variables like the customers change, or, now we're making the double cheeseburger, so now I need to know that. And you have that when you're making videos and hobby stuff and streaming and all that kind of stuff too. But I just kind of had this realization in the last week where I'm just like, man, I just feel like I keep doing the same circle over and over again. And oftentimes there's a lot of fun because there's creativity and what video idea and all those stuff. But like I just had this moment where I'm like, I just feel like I'm on a treadmill. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that.
100%.
Yeah.
So
Like I often wonder, like, is this just it
Yeah.
forever?
yeah.
You know what I mean, like, sure, some bit, like I say, I'm grateful that some bits are cool, but like, I don't get a lot of time to like express like creative freedom either. Like with everything else in the shop and all the other stuff, like I don't really get time to just like focus down on one thing. And then it's like, oh, I've done that, and it's like, right, mad pressure to get something out to some deadline, some stress. You get that done, and you go, oh, it's all done now, and you go, right, what's next? Okay, and it's
You started
back
over.
on again.
Yeah.
Like it just, I don't get that like, oh, I've done this cool thing anymore. You just go like, sometimes you do, but like I'm feeling the same, man. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you, babe.
How are you going to break off the treadmill?
Destroy
I think
it.
one thing I
Destroy the treadmill.
I burn the treadmill live on Twitch. So one thing that I decided that I'm going to do is kind of a short-term switch things up is for video I have coming out after the next one is it's just going back to a project that I'm excited about that I want to do, which is working on my Golden Demon piece. And I'm like, I don't know if this video is going to do great. I don't know what the final video will be because I can't do a whole video on this because it's a super long, intense project. But I'm just going to kind of throw everything out the window and just do something that's exciting for me that I would do in my own evenings, and do that and see if that rejuvenates me. But otherwise, too, it's like sometimes it's just like, I just need to stop worrying about all these other factors of running a business and just be like, I just need to do the thing that excites me most, and then hopefully that rejuvenates me.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about doing YouTube is that it's way more than just making videos and painting figures, like there's also a huge business aspect to it. And also, you can't really rest on your laurels a lot on YouTube. Like you can for a couple months, but the platform's changing constantly. What YouTube is looking for is changing constantly. And even thinking about that is stressful, let alone doing the research, trying to implement it, failing, It sucks to fail with an experiment on YouTube because that's like a 40-hour investment. It's like, well, that thumbnail is shit. On to the next one. It's like, dude, like that. So every lesson is super painful. and like the rat race feeling is definitely there. So
Yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
I think you've had a fair bit of that with Twitch though as well. Like, Twitch is a different platform. Like I
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do YouTube, you do. I mean, you do both, right? You do
Yeah.
all platforms. But like, you've had the same with Twitch, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way I broke out of that was taking a break. I took a month off.
Mm.
Did that work for you or no?
It did and it didn't. I kind of realized what it's like to have your evenings back a little bit more, which I was enjoying. So I'm kind of struggling to come back into it a little more than I thought. But the burnout feeling is gone, which feels great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as someone who's done both the YouTube and the Twitch stuff, do you have a preference for one like community or platform or like
They're
ethos?
very different.
Yeah, yeah.
But as much as I'm in the YouTube videos, he puts all the work in. So
Okay.
he does all the cameras, the editing, all that.
Okay.
You know,
You-
so
you
that
get
that's on the burden of that is on him.
Okay, so it's kind of hard to compare because not like
Yeah.
doing. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
she sits there, gets wine and takeaways, basically.
Oh, that sounds.
I have to like,
Very
I have to like,
nice.
I have to like bribe you in with food, basically. Do you know what I mean? And then
Mm.
you're fine there, aren't you? Like,
Okay.
you just sit there like, oh, my phone's down there. Can you pick it up? I'm like, yes. Walk around,
Yeah.
pick your phone up. Do you know what I mean? But
I'm
yeah,
getting rinsed today.
yes. I told him, look, he's been arsehole 110%. I'll
Not,
go.
not to me.
I'm gonna go on someone. I don't know. I'm sorry.
You're sitting right there.
It's you or Scott, and he's like slightly out of the way. So it's you. No, but I think that's it. I think like even I've seen that though. Like myself, it's one thing, but I've seen that with you as well. Like even just doing projects recently that you've like enjoyed again, right? Like you tried to do
Yeah.
that like combat patrol challenge, right? Which was just a disaster.
We kind of came up with that live, so I didn't really have a chance to think it through. I was like, I can do, what was it? I said I'd be able to fully paint
4 combat
4
patrols in 4
combat
weeks.
patrols in 1 month.
That's a 500-point army. It's a small 40K
Like
army.
1,000.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's like
So
800
boxes.
Yeah,
I
it's
got
a box,
like
yeah.
2/3 through the first one and went, I would rather die than finish this.
What? Can we back this up a second? What in your brain was like,
It's great.
no, not 1 in 1 week, not 2 in 2 weeks, but you went directly to 4. Like, let's see how the
Yeah.
first week goes.
Yeah.
It's because people said I couldn't do it. So I was like, well.
Spite is your
But then they
greatest
were
motivator,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. So I feel that when someone's like, "That's not gonna work," I'm like, "Fuck you! I'll make it work."
I will do.
Yeah,
I'll do 8 in 1
little
week.
did I know they were right. And it made me want to throw all my paints away.
Yeah, I think that killed it for you
And
Yeah.
for a bit.
Yeah, because I made bets with people.
Yeah.
So now I owe people minis and stuff.
Like painted minis.
Yeah, well, just
Oh,
one.
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that still kind of feels bad.
but there was a lot of pressure on that I, admittedly made myself. But
Mm.
yeah, I said no. I'm not even going to try for the next 3 weeks. Like I just would rather.
Okay.
So I said no.
All right.
And then I took out something new from a box and enjoyed it. Yeah, I started painting.
Mhm.
I think it was a orc from Age of Sigmar. And it was great.
Okay, a little bit of change of pace.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we could honestly talk about YouTube forever, but before I do that, let's do a little bit of the what we painted in the last 2 weeks. When we start with you guys, what have you like hobbied on most recently? Like whether it's scratch building, even like buying a cool new thing or painting a model, whatever it is. Like what have you been hobbying on most recently?
I was doing, what was it? It was the new something on Maw Crusher.
The
it
Auric
was.
Maw Crusher thing, the rhino thing, like
Yeah.
the big pig.
The big cabbage.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big
Oh
pig.
no.
Oh, no, you
not
got
that
Big Pig.
Oh,
not
Yeah,
Maw
the
Cru-
big-
yeah, was it? Yeah, it's the pig one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Gore grunter.
Gnasher or something like that. Yeah.
Is there
but
a dude riding on the side of it, like standing up?
Yeah, there's like 2 of them on
Yes.
each side.
Okay, okay, I know
I
this
built
one.
it without the side guys.
Yeah, why did you do that?
Just to make it easier.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Less dudes to paint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Good strategy.
But I did the armor yellow, and I love painting yellow armor. But again,
Wow, you and like 2 other people in the world apparently. Everyone always complains about yellow.
yeah, I love it. It
Okay.
just we use is it Tamiya? No, not Tamiya. The rust effect.
Dirty down.
Dirty down
Oh.
rust effect on top of that is it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of stippling with Rhinox side for chips, and it just looks amazing.
Okay.
So it was something that I knew I enjoyed doing, and I knew that I'm good at, so it sort of brought me back in.
Okay, like a good layup. It's just
Yeah.
easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do that every once in a while for a palette cleanser too. I'll just paint like a Greyjoy character in like an hour and a half, and it's like
Yeah.
it's easy.
Isn't that dirty down stuff just like pure magic?
Oh my
I
god,
don't
it's
know what it
amazing.
is.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So the
So good.
the guy that makes it, he goes to different conventions, and he was at Nova, and so I got to talk with him because he has a booth there, and he goes to Adepticon too. And as far as I understand, the history of that stuff, it comes from prop making for movies. And he had I think it was like a Captain America shield, like true size, that he had put all like this verdigris and rust and all this different stuff on and buffed it off. And I was like, man, each of these bottles are like $20 a bottle. So that was like $700 in product on that shield. And he's like, yeah, it helps because I make it. So
Oh, he makes it.
I don't know if he makes it or if he just buys it wholesale or whatever, but and he just puts it in these little bottles. I imagine his job is just like there's a big 5-gallon drum and he just like takes a little squeegee and goes
Yeah.
You can buy the big bottles of it though. You can buy, I don't know if it's like a liter, but you can get it in huge like milk carton size.
Does it cost $3,000?
No, I don't think it was that expensive.
$2,998.
Yeah.
I think you'll find not quite
way
three.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is. It's like magic.
so good, that
magic
stuff.
in a bottle, all of it.
Yeah, I love the moss. I can't get enough of the moss. It's I use it for all my bases in my Soul Blight army, and it's amazing.
Mm.
And I heard he told me about some stuff he's got coming up here soon, some new products. And you carry those at the shop? Do you carry Dirty down in the shop? Oh, this next stuff you're going to like. I can't talk about it yet, but we'll talk about it when the camera's off. But it is exciting. Scott knows about it.
I do.
Remember?
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. I mean, I don't, but you told me. Yeah, but I have a shit memory. Yeah.
You'll remember when he tells you.
I'll give you a hint. You won't need Uhu glue anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You love the Uhu glue blood
do,
combo.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've seen people lately, they'll do the Uhu glue and then they'll like paint red on top of the stringy
Yeah.
bits, and it leaves like little globules on the string, which is so much better than what I do, which is mixing like Tamiya clear or red or ink into the Uhu glue and then doing it, because you get like the drops off of the slime
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw Mamicon doing it, and it was like really. I was like, oh, that's so much better, because you could even do different colors. You could do like green over here, red over here. You wouldn't be stuck to one color.
That all sounds well and good until, like, doesn't it feel like half of the ones that you tried to put that on is just going to snap the glue?
Probably, I haven't
Yeah.
tried it yet. That sounds
Yeah, you can't touch the models, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
just
Oh
put
yeah.
your hand through it, yeah.
Yeah, it always feels bad doing that on gaming models. It's like, this is not going to last.
No. It's got to be strategically placed around the model in a spot that my hands don't ever grab it.
Yeah, like on like the inside of something.
The balls of the rhino. Do you know what I mean?
The balls.
The balls?
Rhino balls.
Yeah, rhino balls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know
Rhino balls are often bloody? Or
I don't know.
Slimy.
Yeah, slimy rhino balls. Yeah, slimy balls.
I guess I haven't investigated enough rhino balls in my life.
You can just cut that bit if you like, Trevor. I don't know about it. I'm not
Definitely
I've
standing
not
here.
looked at many rhino balls. I just say it's not like I don't Google it or anything. I'm not obsessed with it. I've got a problem with it.
Okay,
I'll stop talking about it. I don't know.
You just click on the images on the Google search, and it's just Ollie pointing at
My history's embarrassing. It's rhino balls.
All right,
balls.
all right,
I don't
Ollie,
know.
your
Stop.
turn. What have you hobbied on most recently?
other than rhino balls.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know, what do I hobby on? The last thing I finished, like a million years ago, I think the last thing I painted was that second edition starter set with all the Ultramarines, the Orcs, and the Grots, whatever, right? I did loads of that. That took me a million years to do. And what have I painted since then? Nada.
Yeah,
That's
Bad
okay.
Assassin.
Oh, yeah. We had like a few like commissiony pieces, right, that you got in. It kind of needed a bit of help with when he went
Yeah.
well. So, yeah, an Assassin, the Lionel Johnson, done a bit of him.
Oh.
Lionel Johnson.
Yes, it is Lion L. Johnson.
Yeah.
I know that. Yeah, I had to paint that same dude. It's the Forge World one, right?
Oh, no, I got the 40k one, the new one.
There's the new 40. It has like
Yeah.
a little kind of
Much-
like sword gremlin guy.
The guy
as
from
well.
Game of Thrones on it. What's his name? You know, Tyrion Lannister.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
he does.
Tywin
Tyrion.
Lannister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tywin. Yeah.
Looks just like him.
Yeah.
I did that a bit.
That's
Yeah.
a much sexier version than the 30K version.
Yeah.
The 30k is like a big knight, right? It's like that. Whoa.
They're
He has
all
a
look
big,
the same.
Yeah, he's got a big knight helmet or like an unhelmeted head. Well, yeah.
So I guess I painted that. Yeah, but like, I think I'd like if I could just paint something I actually wanted to paint. I think I just want to paint like Skyrim stuff or Game of Thrones stuff. I just want to
Okay.
paint that now.
Yeah, you're jazzed about that stuff right now.
And yeah, I'm excited about that. Like,
Okay.
by the time I start that, I'll be on something else. But
Okay.
like, yeah, that's what I want to paint.
Okay.
So you like the Song of Ice and Fire and Brimstone and
I've not played the game ever, so I'm hoping actually we get a game at some point. Even just a casual, just a little taster. I've not played that or Shatterpoint or anything. I know you've been playing loads of those.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to have a little play with some of those. I don't get to play ever. I never get to play anything. So like ever. Like you're like, oh, I played 3 games of this and Magic, and you're like, I did this and D&D. I'm like, fuck you and fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't play anything.
Well, speaking of Song of Ice and Fire, what I painted was 2 new Greyjoy characters.
That was such a good lead-in as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, yeah. So this is Eric Ironmaker. I had already painted this model, but I had doused the other one in
Sweet.
opaque white resin accidentally, and so I had to repaint it. So that's Eric Ironmaker.
He's on the toilet.
Yeah, he's sitting in a chair. He's a chair guy.
He's cool.
And the other guy I painted was a new one. This is an attachment that I saw a lot used at the U.S. Nationals for A Song of Ice and Fire that I attended recently. This guy's name is Makoro. He's an NCU or a non-combat unit for my Greyjoys. But yeah, he was a lot of fun to paint. He's got really cool volumes. He got a lot of abs on his chest. They were a lot of fun to paint. He's got a good face.
All the abs.
He's ripped.
Yeah, he's jacked. Yeah,
What is that guy?
I don't fucking know.
He does 1,000 sit-ups a day for
Yeah.
1,000 years. What is that about? He's got like a 10-pack.
Yeah. So that's what I painted. I painted them on stream. They're like short, 1.5 to 2 hour long paint jobs. It's hard to know on stream because I'll like take like a 10-minute break to like shit on Star Wars for like, whatever, some amount of time, and then I'll get back to painting.
They look awesome. Like an hour and a half.
Thank you.
Kidding.
It's hard to know. Yeah,
Like
hour and a half,
hours.
2 hours. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
It's like a 10-hour paint job for me.
I've gotten pretty good in the past at painting single models, like really fast and pretty good. But I'm really bad at like batch painting. That's like a skill that I'm really starting to learn how to do better. But it's a long road to be better at batch painting.
Yeah, you hate batch painting.
I do hate batch painting.
Everyone hates batch painting.
Does anyone enjoy it?
Yeah, no one likes it.
Sickos.
They do like to watch videos about it, but not actually do it themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's the misery. Like one of my good videos was like a 24-hour army thing back in the year, a couple of years ago, and that was like a bit of a trend. I think I did that, and people just loved how like miserable I was.
Yeah.
In the whole experience. Like I want to go to bed. I hate everything. They're like, yeah, nice, cool. Thanks.
You're suffering.
I'm sick of my life. I'm ill. They're like, yeah, awesome. Keep painting. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what they like about that.
They don't have to do it, and then in 15 minutes it's over, and they can just go.
Yeah, my 24 hours are condensed into a 12-minute, 8-second video with an ad read in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, cool. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is. I painted 2 bugs from the new Ravage Star Game Found thing. You'll hear more about that later. I forgot to
Oh, wow.
bring them.
Oh, I bumped.
Uh,
What's that from?
It's Ravage Star. So Ravage Star 2, it's their new tabletop game, but they released like they're kind of also proxies for 40K. So this is their Tyranid range.
I've seen this. Yeah, I watched the vid.
They first came out with like chaos, like bad guy chaos models, and then here's the big. I did the big one too.
Ooh,
he's
glowy.
like vomiting out
oh, he's glowy.
eggs.
Dude,
The
the
mini is
white
actually
oil
really
wash
cool.
with the green on top.
It like is like screams to your eyes.
Yeah, it's
I want
beauty.
to have something for like the bigger monsters or the leader units that kind of made them more special than all of the chafe. But I still wanted their basic color schemes to be similar enough where you'd put them all together. He's like, oh, I see. There's the big scary monster over there. He's glowy green, but they all have this kind of autumn color scheme. Otherwise, the yellow to orange to like burnt red.
Yeah.
On their carapace. And so for that, I decided I was just going to use tricks for the whole painting process. Other than there's a couple of little doing like quick edge highlights to clean it up at the end, but you don't even have to do those. So it was all just airbrushing with inks, oil washes, using the fluorescent paint, and then using the liquid pigment-based powder stuff, which is a new thing from AK Interactive, which is phenomenal in that it ends up drying and looking just like pigment powders, but it's got the fixative in the stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like an ideal product. And it
Right.
looked pretty good, like that dustiness on the base you had.
Yeah, and I probably like overdid it because I hadn't really used it before, and I was just kind of like messing with it, but you could like mix a bunch of different colors, slosh it around, and then you go through with mineral spirits on a brush or a Q-tip, and you can just remove it too. So it's like feels like you have more control with it, but it gets that really matte, dusty look
I like that.
Cool.
in a little bottle. And they had like 8 or 10 different kinds of them, and they're all the kind of powder colors that we already use. So I was like, dang, this stuff is pretty cool. So it was just basically just using what we kind of label as hacks in mini painting that aren't using acrylic paint on your paintbrush and applying that.
Yeah.
Right. And so
That's
doing
standard, yeah.
so it was like doing that as little as possible. And how much can you paint and make it still pop? Because that's the biggest thing that I find is that when people paint stuff to look good on the table, to be really clean, like the GW box art, for most of us, it ends up looking boring because there's not enough vibrancy. There's not enough like color first, punchiness first, and cleanup second. It's more like I need to worry about cleanup the whole time. And when you do that, I just feel like I end up like looking at it when it's done, and I'm like, but when it's 3 feet away, it doesn't sing like I wanted it to sing. Kind of like in your recent video, what about your 40K or excuse me, Age of Sigmar Escalation League, what Evan said, where he's like, looking at it now, my Stormcast at the table, they just kind of fade, you know, because it's too dark and there's not enough like things that really grab my eye. And that was something Evan learned, which I'm like, I feel that so much oftentimes when I look at my stuff that I've painted at a gaming table. So I was like, how can you paint stuff quickly and just get that punch on the front end and then work your way in reverse and decide when to stop when you want to stop, you know, because I think that's a big thing is like, if you require to go through all 8 steps of your batch painting or your army painting or whatever to get to the point where it's like at the end of step 8, it looks awesome, but at the end of step 6, it still looks like shit, you're in trouble, because what if you don't go all the way through? Here it was like, after blasting it with inks in an oil wash, it looked solid at the table. And then I can play with it. How much more do I want to do? And I don't have to do it the same day. I can come back 6 months from now and go do those little edge highlights if I want to.
Yeah.
But it still looks good, and it makes an impact right away. So that was the premise of the video.
Yeah, I feel like the last like it gets counterproductive, right? To like start on with like you might put 10 hours into a model, right? And then you could put like 10 more in, and you get like 1% extra.
Yes.
Right? Like you just stop at 10 hours and go, okay, they look cool now. Rather than like, do you know what I mean? Your time starts to work against you, and you go, that's probably enough.
Yeah.
Like if I want to do more, just do it later. Like,
Yeah. You shared a sentiment that was interesting that I didn't know until I did this escalation campaign, was that there are people that will paint an army or a unit or whatever to like a low quality standard by their standards, and then they'll come back to it and paint it later. And like in my head can't compute that. Like when I decide I am done with a thing, I never paint it again. But like that's like a fine idea. But like that's like a whole new thing for my brain to chew on. It's like trying to make a paint scheme that looks good halfway through. It's like, what does that even mean? And so I'm like, now it's like a thing I want to try out and figure that out, because that's not how I currently paint. It looks good at the end, pretty much.
Yeah. I think that it requires you, like you're saying, to think about that before you start.
Yeah.
Right? Because otherwise, if you're like, okay, step 3 is paint all the belts and pouches and bullshit, it's like, fuck me. That's going to take so long. And I spent all this time, and I look at it at the table, and I can't really tell I did anything. So yeah, you gotta make that biggest impact in the front end. I think it's kind of a cool thing to feel like you can have your models out and playing with them much faster if you do everything through step 2 or step 3. But you have to be okay with it. Almost like a mental thing. You have to be okay with saying like, okay, I want them to not just look like gray plastic, and then I can decide to one unit at a time or one hero at a time go back and do it. So
Yeah. What do you guys think about that idea?
I don't have an awful lot of experience army painting at all.
That's okay. Like, but what are your thoughts though? Just to
So
kind of
all
at
my
face value.
models look terrible until the last minute.
Yeah. Okay. Same. Yeah.
Or I'll do something really stupid, which I did that orc, which is I'll paint all the fun bits first, and then I'm left with the really boring bits, and then it never gets finished.
Yeah, I feel you on that too. I did that. I tried one time. I did the opposite, where I painted the base, the boots, the back of the model, the torso, and then my favorite part, the face, last. And that was like, it was interesting because like my hobby joy was like flatline through the entire thing. Cause like, I was like, yeah, this base is awesome, but it's a fucking base. And I was like, at the end, I was like, oh, this face is so much fun to paint, but I'm like kind of low on creative fuel, and so kind of just flatlined.
Yeah.
Whereas normally it's like, you know, it's like all the way down to the bottom. So yeah, I don't know if I'd ever do that again. It wasn't a terrible experience, like kind of starting with the base and stuff like that, but it was just interesting.
I think you're doing it, for me anyway, I think you're doing it the right way, because the start of the project, I'm most excited. So I want to do the things that excite me most at the beginning, because I feel like I'm going to do my best version of them.
Yeah.
If I do it in reverse, I'm just like, I just want to be done, and now the face looks like butts.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to care.
I think the way I should be doing it is like base everything, base layers first, that kind of thing. But I don't. I'll like fully completed the armor, including the dirty down and everything, before anything else was even touched. But it kind of did work, because I was like, this already looks great, so I'm going to
Yeah.
Momentum will see you through. That's what I find, because when I'm doing all the little details that you're not even going to hardly notice anyway, at the end, I'm like, but I really like all the work I've done so far, so I'll just use that momentum to try to get me to crawl across the finish line and finish the model.
Yeah, that's the thing. Each small part of the model you finish is like a little success, and so it helps you to get through the other parts. That's why I paint each individual part like one at a time when I paint like a single model. Yeah,
I suppose you want like maximum hobby joy at like the bits that mean the most, right?
Yeah.
This is chest, whatever bits. That's where you want to be like the most excited. I find I've ended up doing the thing really where like I've done, because I've doing quite a lot like batch painting, like it's tedious, right? And like you go into a new project, I'm really excited about that second edition stuff. I did the same with terrain. I was like, I love this. I built all my favorite bits first, did all that, and then like I don't want to like turn things I love into like a miserable experience, right?
Yeah.
So you go, okay, I'll do enough there, and I go, but you know what, that's enough. Like, so I've started doing what you were saying about like having things done, finished to a level. If I want to go back later, I can.
Okay, so you do this.
So I might do a few. Like,
Have you ever gone back later?
never, and that's it, right?
But the option is
But
there.
I've got a load of
Ciara.
models that sort of look a bit shit, but they're all right. But I find I'll do a couple to like a good standard. Okay, right, I can do that.
Yeah.
Like, there's like 5 dudes. They just sit at the front. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've got the good dudes, right?
Good
Like,
dudes, yeah,
good
yeah.
dudes.
For
Then
the
the other
YouTube
guys-
video, put them at the front. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing, man. I did that box set. I'm like, oh, do I really need to do this to all 40 of these Gretchen? Like, no. Like, we'll have 5 good ones, and they'll just be at the front all the time. Like,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the other guys, like, who cares if they've not got 10 highlights on? But like, that's the thing with that like second edition 90 star, right? It's like endless highlighting. I'm sat there doing it. I was like, this look awful. I thought I've ruined everything. I did a load on a couple. I was like, oh, they look awesome now.
Yeah.
But like, it's really time consuming.
Mm.
So like, I'll do enough, and I don't want to like ruin it and hate it. So I'll just come back and do more later if I want to. And like, maybe I do go back to that stuff. Maybe I don't. But like, the option's there.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like, and then move on to something
Yeah.
else. Right before like I'm at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a friend under the bus a little bit right now. Dan was another person in my escalation campaign, and he painted his army mostly in contrast paints. And there was definitely a previous mini painter in my history. Like I was definitely at a place where I was holier than thou and thought that contrast paints were shit and like wouldn't make a great like result. But he gave me his little army to film B-roll for that video, and those shots look fantastic.
They look great.
Yeah, they look great. And so it's like, dude, like contrast paints, like whatever. If you get them done, like to even like a medium level standard or whatever, as an army, they look awesome. So it's like it really doesn't matter that much on an individual miniature basis. And so that was like a huge learning lesson for me. Like while getting done with the army, is that and I don't need to be meticulous with every single skeleton.
I think no one else cares as much about your stuff as you do either.
That's
like,
true,
Like,
that's
I,
true.
like someone goes to look at my army, you go, that's cool. You look at it a bit, you go, that's cool. But like, I'm thinking, oh God, I didn't do that bit under there. That cape's not got that, but they don't care.
Yeah,
Like, they go, looks cool, and that's fine. Like, it's like, rather than like I see a lot of people with the shop and everything, like on tournaments with like unfinished stuff. I think, do you know what? Just get it painted that you're happy and feel like you can play with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like YouTube or like being a good display painter ever can change that. Like it forces your hand a little bit, right? I can't put out like what I feel is a substandard paint job on a YouTube video, so it forces me to do more than would want to do sometimes.
Yeah, like in your own personal hobby.
Yeah, like I don't personal hobby anymore, but exactly that. Like I'm happy just to get stuff to play. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but like there's nothing wrong with that. Which I mean, like, who cares if you enjoyed that bit and you enjoy playing, get it painted. If it's contrast paints and whatever, and slap chop and spray cans, do it.
Our first sponsor this week is Gale Force 9 with their new out-of-the-box terrain called Tenfold Dungeon, bringing you to new and interesting sci-fi worlds.
Tenfold Dungeon is quick and easy modular terrain that lets you skip the prep and get right to your next battle.
Each set unpacks in just a couple of minutes and provides a detailed environment with a 1x1 grid with detachable doors, stairs, barriers, and more.
And when you're done, the whole thing packs neatly into its box, making it simple to store and transport for those getaway games.
The first wave featured 4 modular fantasy sets. The castle, the town, the temple, and dungeons and sewers are all completely modular and shipped with a D&D 5e adventure unique to the terrain set.
This time around, Tenfold Dungeon has ventured into the world of sci-fi with 4 brand new sets.
Daedalus Station is a seemingly derelict space station with an airlock, life support room, maintenance room facility, control room, hangar bay, and plenty of corridors.
Smuggler's Den is the perfect place to hide out with a docking bay, motel, warehouse, repair shop, back alley, surgery parlor, and what den of iniquity would be complete without a gambling den?
Starship Vengeance is an immaculate and clean internals of a futuristic Voyager, complete with a bridge, engine room, crew quarters, a med bay, science lab, observation room, and brig.
Last but not least, the Cyberpunk City is a neon-infested future with a nightclub, VIP lounge, corporate offices, an apartment, a credit exchange, and plenty of alleyways for dark and violent encounters.
All these sets are perfect for games like Kill Team, Stargrave, Infinity, Starfinder, and even smaller games of 40K.
Thank you so much to Gale Force 9 for sponsoring today's episode and their Tenfold Dungeon with the new sci-fi range. Check out the video description or show notes below to pick them up yourself or find them in a friendly local game store. let's get back to the episode.
All right, into the main topic with Ollie and Ciara, and we want to talk about YouTube, running a gaming store, running events, doing all the responsibilities you guys have, and how you juggle that, and how you feel about it, and what the future holds for you guys and your respective Twitch channels and YouTube channels, and just to know a little bit more about you. Because for me, from an outsider perspective, like, I'm a YouTuber, and I'm like, I feel like I'm dying all the time. Not to be melodramatic, but it's like really hard to do all this stuff. And then I think about running a game store, and then I think about doing the other responsibilities that we'll learn about later on that you guys have. And it's just like, dude, how are you not a husk of a human being? Like, you're like, both of you, like, seem to be joyful and like and pleasant to speak to. Like, when I'm in a bad place, like, I'm a cunt. I'm a miserable person to speak to. Like, I have a very hard time like masking my emotions if I'm not doing well. So it's like, I want to know what the sauce is. Is it the Mountain Dew? Like, what's in the water over an island?
Zero.
Yeah. So like, let's talk about you. Like, first of all, first question is like, what are your individual responsibilities as it relates to miniature painting? Whether that's, you know, the store, the channel, Twitch, or anything. What do you guys do?
Okay. Shall I go first?
Yeah.
I'll go first. All right. So I do run the YouTube channel, do all the editing, all the stuff, everything else. So we don't have anyone else who helps with that. That's all me. And as far as YouTube goes, you like feature in them more than anything else.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, you don't do any editing or anything else, or like use cameras. So that part all falls to me. The shop was like my thing to begin with. So like the money in and the time in for the first year was all me. Right, you worked another job, and then you've come into that a bit later on now. So you do a lot more, but you can go through that yourself. And we've obviously got the kid at home. We've recently started doing distribution for like Kickstarters and stuff. And I only until recently was working like 24-hour care shifts in care jobs. So I'd go to like 10 a.m. till 10 a.m. working in social care.
How recent was this?
Like
a year
last
ago?
shift was like 6 months ago,
Wow.
March or something.
Okay.
The shop's been running for like 2.5 years now, and YouTube's been 4 now, just hit 4 years. Yeah, so there's quite a lot to like juggle, right?
Yeah. Do you sleep?
No,
Okay.
I don't sleep. That's the main trick, I
Yeah,
think, is don't sleep
Don't
at all.
sleep.
And you do a fair bit too, but you go, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take on most of the shop responsibilities. So I
Okay.
would be like the general manager of the shop. So
Okay.
ordering, the stocking, all that sort of stuff, and
Okay.
any of the admin. You look after the admin for any of the YouTube stuff, sponsorships, that kind of thing. But shop admin and everything that entails.
Do you do like financing, like balancing a checkbook and like?
No, so we have the accountant that does most of that, but you still do like the pay slips.
Yeah, so I'll do the accounts and like send them to the accountant. Do you know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah.
We just did like last year's taxes, whatever. Like that's like that was a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Particularly as the business has evolved, like that element has evolved with it. Right? There's no like set thing. Right? Just do this. That's how you do accounting. Like as more elements come into the business, like it gets more complex, right?
Okay.
So it's got to the point now where like I've always been self-employed. I was an actor and musician for years, so that part's easy. But then like as it's gotten more complex and the numbers get bigger and you're dealing with more stuff, like
Okay.
a slip up will cost me more. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
legally, there's like legal ramifications if I slip up now, so I can't.
Okay.
So like I pay for that with the accountant to do that side. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot there.
I think the more you take on, then you're sort of here, whereas I'm here because you take on more. So I'll take on the back end of what you were doing.
Oh,
Do
because
you know what I
he
mean?
leaves a trail of unfinished tasks.
Yeah, I go, sure, I don't want to do that anymore. Don't do that anymore. Don't do that anymore. Yeah, the
Yeah,
destruction
yeah.
behind me whilst I think about the big stuff. And
Yeah,
then,
you're the big ideas man.
Yeah, I don't know if you relate to this, John, but I have a very hard time understanding what I'm able to accomplish with the time that I have available to me, and so I'll like commit to like various things, and like I can't do them all, and so what I just end up doing is like whatever is like on fire and screaming the loudest in front of my face.
That's you.
But
That's
then
what
like
we
I
said.
leave a wake of just like disappointed people that, like, that I just didn't finish shit for.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm constantly just putting out fires, man. That is my job. Like, every day it's like, right, what's on fire?
Yeah.
What's like immediate? There's like a task list, right? And anything in the middle never gets done. Right? Stuff at the bottom I'll do when I'm procrastinating to not do the good stuff.
yeah.
That I need to do.
Okay, so
I'll do
you
all
do
the
that. You'll
jobs at the
let-
bottom,
Yeah.
and then I go, right, I should probably do that main thing now. Do those things, and then anything like that's like fifth in line just never gets done.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot to juggle, I think.
It's slowly grown because we didn't just sort of decide to open a shop. We started out distributing for Geek Gaming, and we had all their stock in, and we were just the EU distributors for them. And then we obviously rented a place to store it all. Realized we could just open the door and let people come in and buy these things. But then everyone came in and was like, do you have Games Workshop?
Oh, wow.
Like,
Okay.
We were like, no, we don't, but I guess we should get it in. And it sort of snowballed from there.
Yeah.
I think I was doing that side whilst working my other job, and it got to the point where like I couldn't like go and do enough order. I couldn't like pack enough orders in the morning or whatever time and go to my job, and I couldn't do it all. So I was like, okay, like I need help now. It's like you have been full time at the shop for like 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like literally salary, that's you like done. They're your wages that can't be missed, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's how we like manage that side of our relationship. But I will say, like I did a video a while ago on the shop. I think one comment that actually stuck with me was about like working with your partner. And I think that really like hit me. Some guy was like, oh, I used to work a business with my partner and I used to see her every day, and now that business is gone and I don't see her anymore. And like, actually, like, I think we work really well together.
Yeah.
And like, I would miss that now. Like,
Yeah,
if we
we're a
weren't
really
working,
good
I
team.
wouldn't see you ever.
But I think people would be surprised. Like, I know when I worked in a pharmacy before I worked here, but everyone was like, oh, you're going to work with your partner. Are you sure about this? Like, I was like, yeah, I think so. Because I think everyone expected it to be a disaster.
Yeah.
We do work really, really well together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the key.
there's a few bits like I think we've learned to understand as well about how we work differently. Like I'm like, you're literally like that, running through shit everywhere behind me, everything's on fire, whatever, but focused on one thing, and you'll be like, oh, I've just picked all this shit up. You know what I mean, it feels like that.
Well, I have a
sometimes.
secret stash of pens that I won't tell him where it is.
Okay. They just
They'll
lost
be
over
gone.
time.
Yeah, you have your
Okay.
stuff that I don't know about. Yeah.
So, as someone who has to order the product from vendors, do you have any horror stories, or like, what's the worst vendor to deal with, like stock wise, response time wise? Who's the big bad?
Okay. Do we do it? Do we out people?
Say it. I fucking know who it's gonna be. That's why I asked the question.
I don't think you do.
think
Oh, I
it is.
don't
I don't
know.
think you do.
Okay, because I've heard one consistent answer from all the store owners that I know.
I'm sure they all hate Games Workshop, right?
They hate Games Workshop. Yeah.
No, like until the Corn World Eaters release, they've been like I'd have been like an advocate for them being my favorite.
Yeah.
that we deal with.
Wow. Okay.
Like,
Me
if
too.
there's,
I'd
if,
love
there's,
to hear that. Okay.
if there's like damage issues or whatever, they just go, sure, no problem, we'll sort you out. They're like only this last. I want to say like 6 months, but it's not as longer now, isn't it? Since last Christmas, they started to really mess us about on pre-orders, right? They'll go, yeah, so Monday you put your order in, for the Saturday the pre-order goes live, and the Monday they go, yeah, sure, we'll give you 10 of these and 10 of them and 2 of them, whatever, it's all good. You pay for that. Friday you get the invoice come through and it goes, oh no, later than that. You sell it all on the weekend. You say, right, we promise you pre-orders. Then Monday morning you get your invoice through and it's been like your shipping delivery invoice and it goes, oh, none of them are on there. And you go like, you phone your account manager, like, where's all those things? What do you mean? We ordered like that, and we paid for it. Like you pay for it as a credit, right? So you don't pay for the box, you pay for like a credit limit. And then they go like, oh yeah, we just cancelled them all in their warehouse because we don't have enough. And I'm like, I fucking sold like a load of product to people, and I have to message people being like, sorry, like I have to cancel your order.
Yeah.
Like this pisses people off. Like it's not my fault at all.
Yeah.
But, like I'm only doing what I'm promised. I never oversell. People I think do oversell sometimes. You know, they might sell more than they got, hoping they can get more later.
Yeah.
Well, we don't do that. I literally get what I get, and that's fine. But that's been happening a bit more lately. So that's really like started to grate a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think they're just having issues on their end. But,
Yeah.
their customer service towards us is always great. Like if
Yeah.
stuff turns up damaged or missing, they'll sort us out. And
Okay. But who's the real big bad? Who's the worst one? You don't have to say the name. Like
Asmodee.
Asmodee.
Fuck them, man.
Okay.
They're the worst.
They're big enough that you can throw them under the bus.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
I like, man, like they'll promise you pre-orders, but never give them. Like at least Games Workshop, I know most of the time I'm getting something. They'll just go, oh, yeah, sure. Why didn't you sell all these boxes? Yeah, I sell them all, and then they go, we're not sending you any actually. and you go, oh great, I'll just refund like all this stuff again. And like, man, they're like, we can't even put pre-orders up because I don't trust it. I don't trust them ever. And like damages, they go, you can have like a few % off, or you can like send it all back. And I'm like, well, I can't really sell it because it's knackered, but it's costing more money to send it back. So I'll just live with my broken shit that you sent me.
Wow. Okay.
And they're like, the pre-orders are always a bit of a mess. Like they're really tough to do with because they do everything, right? So like everything we sell like isn't Games Workshop, is basically just them. So whether it's card stuff or anything, so we spend a lot with them, right? And I just feel like they don't really give a shit, right? Have you ever had a when's the last like?
I think probably the bigger account you are, the more they help you out.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we don't get. I think we're like, oh, last thing, sure, you can have a little bit if you want. I'm like, oh, great, like.
Okay.
But it means we can't pre-order anything, which means the bigger stores are selling them. So if a bigger chain store has it 2 months in advance where you can pre-book it, you're going to do that. But they get given more stock, and we might not. They might say your maximum you can order is 8. So we'll say, right, we'll get 8. But we can only put like 2 up for pre-order because we don't even know if we're going to get those 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that's the problem, is it leaves us with like lumps of stock where you're like, oh, I actually got 8. And I'm like, well, I didn't sell 8 now because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So like, do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's their biggest.
But we learned that the hard way as well. We learned
Yeah.
that with some big releases, and we were like, "That's great." They said we can get 20 of these. We'll sell 20 of them.
I'm literally emailing going like, can we have like, can we have 20? They're like, yep, definitely. There you go. There's your sales invoice. There's your, oh, great, paid for that. Yep, perfect. And then they just don't send it. And you're like, oh,
That
okay.
was-
That's a refund. Like, that was awful.
That was brutal.
Yeah, you hated that.
That was so anxiety ridden, sending people emails, being like, "I'm so sorry. I know this is, you really, really want this, but we didn't get it." And then they think you're making it up as well most of the time.
And that's the problem, right? Customers, they like damages customer trust then, right? Like ultimately it's us like doing our best, but we do, anytime we do with other things or other people, that's where shit gets more difficult, right?
Yeah, and I feel like what Asmodee and GW and anyone who does that kind of thing doesn't really realize is that a lot of the lifeblood of like their business comes from people that are buying stuff at local game stores. And so if you're damaging the reputation of a local game store, you're damaging potential future sales, right? And you have Asmodee who does stuff like they now own Miniature Market and they sell product from Asmodee on Miniature Market at a discount below MSRP, undercutting stores. It's like, bro, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of feels like a little bit of like auto cannibalization here, like kind of just eating their own like business. But
there are a few companies that do that, right? Like,
yeah.
they'll
There
do
are.
like
Are there more?
yeah, they'll be like, oh, we'll do a 50% discount off something, or give away like they'll sell you a
On
load
their
of books.
own website
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
they
or-
own and
yeah.
operate.
They'll sell you a load of books or something, and then they go, oh, we're doing a thing where we're giving away free books. I'm like, fuck, I've just bought like whatever 20 of these rule books, and now people just go and download it for free, and I'm sat on this massive box of things I'm never going to sell now. And like, I suppose the one thing Games Workshop do that sucks is like, because they do a lot of rule books and data cards and shit. Like, man, when the edition changed, I just got like a giant box of like 50 data cards that like you take ranges on, right? So you take like, I'll take this range on, and every range you take on like protects you. You can send one of those products back if like they change the rule book. You can send a rule book back.
What's a range?
So like so if you wanted to open an account with Games Workshop, you'd have to buy the BSA, whatever it's like, basic something, whatever, BSF foundation range, and you have to buy these things. So here's like 50 products. They're best.
Space Marine starter sets.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
paints,
yeah.
20 paints, something, and that's where you start. And you go, okay, so you'll see a lot of those actually in like garden centres or like flower shops where someone's gone out, they've phoned them and said, oh, you might want to sell this, and they take it on, they think, oh, sure, they don't really know, and then they might not sell any more than that, but they'll have that range sat there, like a Sylvan, a starter set, and whatever things they say are their best sellers. And then you go, okay, so anything on that gets changed. So they go, right, that codex is old now. If you've got that range, you can send one of those codexes back. We'll credit you for the cost. Great. So, do you know what I mean? They give you a bit of protection. So the more ranges you take on, like 200A, 200B, BSA, Paint 360, Paint 210, whatever, these are things that you have to stock. But they'll save you a little bit. But like some of those things aren't on there. So like data cards, right? Like I think the World Eaters Codex was the last one out in 9th edition. Like 2 weeks later, they go, oh, that's useless now. I'm just sat there with a load of like World Eater books and stuff that are worthless now.
Yeah.
Like I've got a box of like $1,000 that is just not going to sell for anything. It's just dead.
Damn.
So like, but that happens with all of them a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of shit.
Kind of comes with the territory in a way, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. You have
Okay.
to just eat that cost.
Yeah. John, are you alive over there? I haven't heard
Yeah,
your voice in like
I'm
3
just
years.
listening.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
Just listening.
This is the problem whenever we have guests on, is that I just like rapid fire questions and John has zero opportunity to
I
ask.
need to drink my Mountain Dew. The question that I had was, so the name of your YouTube channel is
Broadsword Wargaming.
Broadsword Wargaming, and you on Twitch are known as
Ciara Elvenblood.
Elvin. It was Elvin something, and I couldn't remember. And I was like, is it Elvin Butt? Is it Elvin Wings? Is
be more
it
sense.
Elvin?
I like that.
It's not too late to change it. And the name of your shop is
It's Broadsword Wargaming.
Broadsword. Is it too late to change the name of your shop and your YouTube channel to Broadsword Wargaming?
Broadsword.
I mean, it feels to me like it's just it's like your name, but 10% better. Just saying.
Yeah.
I
I've got a
mean-
broadsword. Who was the guy who did the Hero Quest video? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's
I forget
the
his
guy.
name. The like bearded guy. Whatever his name is. Like the gargoyle.
Bardcast,
Bard, that's it,
something.
bearded bard or something.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
the gargoyle, the greatest game ever played. Like,
Yes.
that guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Him.
and that's where every time I see the name of your channel come up on my subscriptions, I'm just like, all I say here in my head is Broadsword.
Broadsword.
So take that nugget with you as you leave today.
Yeah, I'll take
you
one
know?
of your
How do you
nuggets.
spell that?
It's BRODESODE.
Broadsword.
Broadsword.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, and then what you do is then you have to track down, probably on eBay, the old original Hero Quest card for the broadsword, and then you like frame it and put it on the wall in your shop.
I
as
have that
broadsword.
card.
There you go.
This is fate. This is destiny. This is all.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
But-
That's your new logo.
Yeah, yeah, just an old
the
sword
card.
card.
It's
Oh, that's
just
way cooler.
Yeah.
Where were you like 5 years ago when I
Sorry.
started this stupid shit? Thinking up shit names.
Speaking of Broadsword, you also run events at your store. I recently saw you did a tournament, and like the first place winner got a sword. They got a broadsword, right?
So they get to wield. It's like the Slayer sword. They don't get the sword.
Yeah, they
They
get
get
the
to
sword.
wield the sword.
Oh, they
like,
get the sword at Golden Demon.
Yeah. Do they keep it?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't got that much money. Fuck that. That's like, I can't afford to give people swords.
You get a
I'm not
selfie
handing
with
out
it.
swords willy-nilly.
What is this? I thought
Yeah.
they got a sword.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you get a trophy with a little sword, but that's
Okay.
as good as you get. Get fucked. What are you doing? You're throwing me under the bus, man.
Imagine Golden Demon. You want a Slayer sword after all that work, and they fucking take it back.
I'm not Games Workshop.
No. It's fine. It's a totally different thing. But I'm imagining that people be so fucking livid.
Yeah,
That'd
right,
be
okay,
hilarious.
I'm going to have to do that now then. You've done that now. Next
Yeah.
40k event, I'll give away a fucking sword.
Yes,
It'll
okay.
be tiny. It'll be fine.
Just
a little like a paper
yeah,
cutter
no, paper
thing.
one.
Yeah.
Paper knives.
So
Yeah, no, we did. We ran short sword, shit sword.
yes.
But no, we ran Ireland's largest 40k event again, breaking my own record by one. And
Nice.
yeah, I think it's like 60 people.
So we run it in a
60
hotel.
people.
We
Yeah,
run
which
it in a hotel in the same town as our store because it's too big for
Yeah,
us.
it's like a big convention room, a couple of convention rooms. Like, actually now, I've outgrown that place. I think I could do 80 quite comfortably now. But like, finding a venue that isn't like 1,000 people. Do you know what I mean? Like the gap
Yeah,
between like
yeah.
60 to like,
Oh,
it isn't like,
yeah.
oh, we'll just do 85 tables or whatever. Like, that's like, doesn't exist. It's now like, you either need a giant place that costs you like 10 million grand a day or like no bigger. So, don't know. I said if I sold this one out and had a reserve list, we sold out in like 2 days. Like,
Wow.
if I had a reserve list again, I had a reserve list like 20 odd. I said if I had, this is the second in a row that's happened, I was like, I'll go bigger. But now like, got to find a bigger place.
People love it. Like people are already asking, can they be put on a pre list for the next one?
Wow.
Pre.
Yeah.
A pre list.
3 pre.
The
Four pre's.
broadsword.
Shit sword.
Yeah, they've gone really well. The last one was the smoothest one so far.
Okay.
There's a lot of learning with each one. You
Yeah.
know, we had our friends come over from England that run their tournaments. They helped us with the first one because they had the experience. But yeah, people love it. I think as well because it's in a hotel, people can stay there and drink and have a good time.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you've put the effort into the quality, so the mats are great. The terrain is all matching. The terrain is great. Like,
Yeah.
So you had to find someone to paint that stuff and like put it together and commissioned it.
yeah,
Oh, you did it.
Mate, me, I just
You
sprayed.
you painted and assembled 30 tables worth of terrain.
Yeah.
believe me, it was not easy the first time.
Oh no, I believe you. You didn't say
know
anything. I
the-
believe you already.
You
was
know
horrendous.
the circles.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So we didn't have enough of the little circles that you need. What was it, rough terrain or
Something
something?
like that, yeah.
So it was us like 3 a.m. the night before. You were cutting it out of foam. I had a balled up thing of tin foil, texturing it like this while you were spraying it out the back. It was awful.
I sent you home and I was like, I'll just be done in a bit. It's like 6 a.m. I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus, put this train out. And it's like, right, event starts at 7 or whatever. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Here I am again. I didn't go to bed.
Okay,
Like-
do you guys feel the same way as well? Where it's like, my wife will be like, "Are you almost done like editing that video?" I'm like, "Yeah, I finished editing the video, but like after I finished the edit, there's like 6 more hours of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like the audio, there's music, there's making a
Yeah.
thumbnail and a title, uploading it, doing the description. There's like posting it on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and making sure everyone's got the visibility they need if I get to perform well. It's like there's a lot of work after I click render. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that.
That's it. I'm always like that. I'm like, oh, I'm nearly done now. Like, I've done the voiceover and everything's kind of done.
Yeah.
Like, right, I've done now. And it won't be that long. You're like,
Well, I
And they're
try
like-
and get you to, because sometimes you'll stay up really, really late to get it done, but it still won't get done. So I'm like, there's no point staying up till 5 in the morning and it's still not getting done. You may as well just go to bed at 1 and
Yeah.
just do it the next day.
Yeah.
I think I hit a clock now, like on like whatever I'm doing. Might be like 1 a.m. and like, okay, if I'm nowhere near finished, like let's just bin this off and get up early or do it the next day. But if it's like, okay, I can probably push through till 3 and get it done, I'll do it. But there's a time I get then I think actually, like you say, it's that bit where I'm like, right, I'm done now. But it's like the fiddly bits, like editing the audio effects or like adding the music in and pissing around the thumbnails. Like, thumbnails takes ages, right? Really.
Yeah.
And that's like I can have the best video in the world, but put a shit thumbnail, no one's gonna watch it. So
Yeah.
so that's where like that's where the money bit is, isn't it? That's what you need to like
Yeah.
stick your money into, like your
Yeah.
time into.
Yeah, unfortunately, it comes at the end of the process for a lot of people, and just feels like like painting a miniature. You kind of run out of steam at that point. So it's like whatever. I'll put my face in it and a model and a red arrow, and I'll be like, magic, and then it's not good enough.
Thank you, best thing in the universe ever. Ultimate evil, realistic thing. Like, yeah.
I never thought of that. Just saying magic. I bet that would work.
It would. Yeah. Little sparkles too. Yeah.
Right. We'll all do a video and we'll just put the same title, like magic. And we'll see what wins. Like,
Sounds like a good idea.
how do you win the internet? I want to do that.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good solution.
But you do a bit of like, quite a lot of other bits too, right? You do like, you had the Kickstarter, you got like the miniatures, you've got like loads of stuff going on. So like, you get the same thing, right? Surely?
Yeah, I guess just on paper, running a small business, then also doing like a store, which is another business, and then doing fulfillment. Like I can see it very clearly how many hours of work that is. Like when you think about running a podcast, it doesn't seem like a lot of hours of work. But it really can be a lot, but it's like sneaky. It's like I'm going to spend an hour dealing with sponsors, writing scripts, making sure they approve of them and things like that. And then it's like, oh, okay, I didn't even realize that was time that I lost. But like when you mentioned that you had to deal with like some thousands of boxes of a Kickstarter campaign to fulfill that, like I could feel, for me, that's an entire day gone. And so it's like I'm like that's the worst feeling for me in the world. Like when I know I'm just gonna lose time immediately when I have to do a task. It's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do what I wanted to do today. I have to do this thing that's gonna absorb my entire day. And like my mood is so tied to how much work I perceive myself as completing. So if anything gets in the way of what I think I want to do in a day and I don't get it done, that's like my mood's totally off. So like I hear those things and they just translate to hours of work so obviously to me. So it feels like way more of a lift. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're probably right.
Yeah, we're all in kind of a similar boat-ish, but yeah, who knows?
I think I've had to like learn. That's my main thing I've learned to deal with actually this last like year or two is like realizing I'm not going to get done what I want to get done, right? Or like some days you just have a losing day, right? Days you just don't win. Like emails are a bit shitty. You might get like some other problems crop up. And I used to like fight that and be like, right, no, like I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to get it all done. And you just don't. I've accepted that like days like that, if I make any progress in something, is good enough, right? And like some days everything goes great, right? And you get all this, whatever, all the things come in and stuff. But some days it's just shit and you have like a bad day. But like, it's like dealing with that mentality, I think, constantly. Because like there's so many aspects that can go wrong in so many different things. Or you can have a day where everything goes right and you're like, this is the best day ever. And the next day it's all shit. Like,
okay, that's some wisdom. You're speaking wisdom into my life right now.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I'm at that phase where I'm just like fighting it.
Don't fight it.
Yeah.
You can't win. Win the next day.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
goddamn.
Should write a book.
Yeah, put that on a t-shirt.
Call it like
win the next day.
Win the next day.
Can't win.
Just you can't win. You can't win. Don't bother. Wasting your time. Do something else. That's what my wisdom would be. Yeah.
The cover of the book is just you holding that tiny sword like this.
yeah.
You can't win.
The broadsword.
You can't win against this guy. It's like, okay, what?
You can't win. It's a big clock.
That's clickbait right there. I've heard a book like that. That works.
It's my idea. No. None of you can't. You can win. Yeah, I think that's what I'd do, right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what I want to know is from both of you, what is your favorite thing and least favorite thing about running a gaming store? Like, what do you love and what do you hate for like the responsibilities that you have to do or otherwise?
I think I already know what your answer would be for your favorite thing as well. Is you do get the motivation and the gratification from people coming in and introducing people that are really excited, that want to get into it and don't know where to begin. And you see, because I'm only into the hobby in the last few years, but for you it's been since you were a kid, so you can give that experience that you had to these other kids that are coming in, which is great for me to see as well. It's cool.
Okay.
That's probably both of our favorite part.
Both yours. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
nice, right? Like it's like if you get like a feedback. Do you know what I mean? Where like you do videos, you just pumping stuff out and you get comments and stuff, but it's a bit more like it's not as it doesn't feel as real, right?
It's
like,
disconnect. There's a disconnect.
But when you're there, like I do demo for like me and my two brothers started. I started like in '92, right? Like 30 odd years ago.
That's when I was born.
Yeah, there you go. I was only a kid, like, but like we started back then, and
Were you 5 years old?
yeah, that's when I got my first set, man.
What the fuck?
I was at White Dwarf, right? On that was what it was.
You were ignoring the age limitation. Clearly.
There was no. I had two older brothers too, right? So
Okay, yeah,
they
there
do
you
it.
go.
Like you do it a bit.
Yeah, you were 5 years old. We started playing like Warhammer and shit.
Painted my first Eldar then.
That's crazy.
That's what it was, and I've never not done it since. And I'm 36 now. So like, yeah. But I mean, sure, it was a bit later when I got into it more, like, but I always did it since then. And that's the main thing that's like kept us all together over the years as well. It's like we're all still into it. So yeah, I enjoy that, like passing that knowledge down and seeing like there's like 3 kids came in the other day and they're like 8, 10, 15 or whatever, and you're like, like, and they love it, and you're like, and the dad comes in, he's like, oh man, my kids love this, like, thank you so much. And you're like, oh, like, it's all right. Like,
but even when it's not kids, there was no community in our town at all before we opened that shop, and now through maybe the first year, there's people that are there's a quite a tight knit friendship group that's come together because of it. They're always coming in and, you know, booking games together and meeting up for all the events and everything, so it's nice to facilitate it, really.
Okay, wow. Okay, so you get to see that as well, not just the individual like growth, but also the growth of a community that you are responsible for. That's amazing. Okay, so what's the worst part of the job now?
It's just really hard.
It's a lot.
It's just really hard.
Yeah.
It's like, even we're here like on holiday, on vacation, and it's just constant. There's always something we have to make sure is done or arriving. It's probably the same for any business owner. I don't think it's particularly just because it's a gaming store or anything. It's always on. There's always something happening, and there's always something going wrong as well.
Yeah, I've been on holiday and I'm like, oh, there's an annoying email about something. You're like, oh, okay, got to deal with this. I've got like 10 missed calls from some things turning up somewhere, and someone can't get hold of me. I'm away. The emails are switched to like, don't talk to me, but it doesn't matter. Like, do you know what I mean? You still have to deal with stuff ultimately.
Right.
I can't just like go, sure, see you later. Like,
that's the size we are. I think maybe if we ever get bigger, we'll have more people to help. And at the moment, it's just
hard paddle.
It's just us. Yeah.
Is it trending that way? Are you trending toward growth, more employees, larger square footage?
I think our probably next big step would be a bigger shop, but like right now Ireland's like, it's crazy prices, so like I can't afford a bigger shop. I could do it, but then it would just damn it. Like, we're safe at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really take much wage from like the shop or anything. You do. We have another employee as well, and like that's we're kind of safe. But like, would want to grow more, but it's a big risk, right? It's scary, and that's why like you see a lot of people may taking a lot of like business debt or assets, and they've got a lot of money tied up places, and the business can fail because, you know, there's a lot of overheads, right? And if you can't manage that,
we're kind of slowly growing in a safe way, rather than taking out like huge loans and getting a huge premises and hoping for the best, you know.
Yeah.
We had that with one of my local stores, that they did that. They, in their first like 3 years of opening, they moved twice, and then a year and a half after their last move, they closed. You could just tell that they did too much too quick, and they didn't think about it in a growth mentality that is sustainable. Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask you about, which it kind of maybe deals with the frustration you deal with distributors, is the differences between our hobby and something that's, I guess you could look at it as a parallel, something like video games. So online, you can go online and buy any video game you want. You could also go to a gaming store in person, and those are kind of a dying thing because there's no real value of a brick and mortar store to buy video games anymore, because you just go home and play it by yourself anyway, as opposed to the miniature wargaming and even card games and even role-playing games, things like that, where you kind of live and die by the community you have. And you guys talked about the community that's kind of grown alongside your store. Do you feel like that you have an impact on how many people play, or you're just bringing them together, or maybe a little bit of both?
A lot of our customers had never, they're into the lore, and that's what brings them through the door. They haven't bought any minis before, they haven't played a game before, and now they're playing in tournaments, and it's gone from there. So yeah, I think we are bringing in new people who would have had an interest anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
As it's like boomed through COVID, right? And you've had like even stuff like Henry Cavill having any interest in it all. It's like actually how people coming through the door going, "Oh, Mum, Henry Cavill likes this," and like, which is crazy to have that in like a reality, but like it is a like the biggest advocate we have of that kind of thing, right? Of like Warhammer. So like actual people, I never thought that would happen, but like people do, and they go, "Oh, yeah, I've watched a video on something," or I saw like Warhammer Games Workshop were doing like video adverts on Sky TV and stuff. And like, if you go to Nottingham, where I lived for a long time, it's where Warhammer World is. On the buses, side of buses, it's there. And like, for whatever, slightly off topic, I guess, whatever people like say about them, like they're the ones plugging money into the industry, right? I think everything else filters because of their input, and they're so big, and they're the ones spending. I don't know how much it cost to run an advert on Sky TV. Like, I'm guessing a lot, right? And like, I couldn't afford it. Do you know what I mean? So like, they're doing it, and like, and then at the same time, like what we bring to the community is like, people are interested in it, and we can introduce them to it, and then you introduce them, and they introduce their friends, and then they make a friend with someone else who wanted to play it, and they kind of grow it themselves. Then, right? Like I can't shape necessarily what's popular, but like 40k, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh are probably the things people play the most in the shop. Like Age of Sigmar, not really, but then other people play like Lord of the Rings. There's like a little group that play that now, and like they get interested and they introduce each other to games. So I might do like an open demo day for Marvel and Star Wars, and come and have a go at whatever you like. I'll run you through what I can, and you play it yourselves. And then
Marvel has really taken off, and it's because we ran a couple of demo games days, and the people who were always coming in for 40k were like, "We'll check out this other game system," and it just has kind of snowballed from there.
And there's been a transition from Magic people now playing 40k, and one does it and goes, "Oh, I'll get a split starter set," and then that happens. So like it kind of grows like organically, but you know we can have an input in the beginning of that, and I'm always there. Like honestly, not like a pushy salesperson. I'd never sell something someone didn't need. Like if anything, I probably should like sell more, but I don't. Do you know what I mean? Because like I don't want someone to go home and be disappointed and say, "Oh, I wasted my money." Like I'd rather someone go home and be happy with that, because that's the altruistic hobby part of me. That's the reason I started the channel and started the shop, is because I was a kid and people don't have that anymore. That doesn't exist anymore. So like give people that. That's why I do it, really. It's like, you know.
That's amazing. So I think everyone knows that probably your biggest seller at a wargaming store is probably GW products or Magic the Gathering. I don't know if you actually carry like those cards, but I'm kind of curious what's like second and third place for you? Like what company, what game system, what hobby product? Like what are like some of your bigger sells?
Trading cards.
Trading cards?
Yeah, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all of those.
All that. Okay. But for like the actual miniature wargaming or painting hobby, what's like second, third place?
So like miles ahead is Space Marines, right?
Right.
Then then it pretty much sticks to 40k. Like Age of Sigmar, pretty quiet. Goes occasionally, but then like
we try our best to get everyone into Age of Sigmar, but it's 40k that people want.
But like paints, hobby products, paints. Like we stock. What do you do? Vallejo, Duncan's ones. We do G-Dub ones. We started doing some like
a little bit of army painter,
a bit of like the express paints. Paints, man. Cards,
effects,
Space Marines.
Yeah.
That's like, because I guess everyone uses paints though, right? No matter what you're painting.
Yeah.
So like it's like global, whereas like you might not be into something.
Okay.
As a game.
Is it mostly Citadel products, or is it also like Vallejo or other stuff?
Vallejo
it's a good mix, yeah.
I think when the Duncan stuff was like newer out as well, people were quite excited to get their hands on that. And like with it being in the EU, like we get like stuff.
Vallejo is cheaper for us.
Yeah, like we can sell Vallejo cheaper than the UK because we're not paying any imports, right? But our Duncan's more expensive because it comes from the UK, so we pay imports. So like anything European, we can normally do a better price, but anything English, we get like stung a bit because. So you have to put in a bigger order then, but then you sat on more of it, so it gets harder to stock a range. So it's like it's where you invest your money.
We're always trying to come up with new hobby products to stock. Like we've got Stillwater on the way, just all those little things because people want them. They just always add them in.
Yeah, like diorama stuff.
Yeah,
anything. Yeah. Okay.
But that's exciting though too, because so many of the great hobby companies are from the EU.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in Spain and in Germany.
They mentioned Gamergrass yesterday. We love Micro Tufts from Gamergrass.
Yes.
Like they're amazing.
Yeah. I love Gamergrass.
You need to get some AK Interactive in there too.
We've got the
tubs of the...
But yeah, I do want to get more in
basing stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
They do a paint range though, don't they?
Stuff.
Yeah, the AK 3rd generation acrylics line. It's like Vallejo, but it's better. So that's
more consistent.
That's my opinion. Anyway. I love that range. Yeah, but then they got all sorts of wild stuff like those liquid pigments. They have like fluorescent, crazy enamel pigments, and then if you ever want to get into the enamels for the grimdark stuff, I think that's from 40K perspective. There's all sorts of crazy stuff that there's out there. But yeah, what the kind of things that when I think of stuff that we're jealous that we don't get because it's such a pain to get stuff from EU companies, especially in local stores. That you guys can get all sorts of goodies.
Yeah, we're not in a bad spot, right? Like even getting stuff in from America is not the worst. Like getting stuff from the UK, you know, if you're not VAT registered, obviously it'd be terrible because you just lose all that money. But we can at least claim the VAT back now, so you're just paying the handling, which companies now just rip the piss out of you really, but you pay for that too, right? Like, so you get hit places. But yeah, Europe's not a bad spot because we're a bit more central than like. I mean, I get access to a lot of stuff. Like Europe's big, right? And then like Pretty
Yeah.
handy.
I love getting new stock in. I get to fulfill like all my online shopping.
Yeah.
wants.
You just buy 10 of the
Free
thing.
shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just say like, "That's for me" as you open the box.
You're probably my most costly thing.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know.
Like,
You're the biggest expense.
yeah, you go like, oh, I'll do this four combat patrol painting challenge. You just like look at me, and I'm like, okay.
Expense it.
Can I take those Dark Angels? Yes. Can I take that? Yes. And I go, I've got no fucking stuff to sell. And then like, I go, I had 10 of these, and you've got 8 now. Why? Oh, I took 2 paints off there and one of these, and like,
Hey.
still on my brushes, still everything really. Don't
I
you?
kind of want to start a game store now.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you want to go out with someone who owns a game store.
Oh, that, yeah.
Free.
I'll ask Amber to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, get into it. Free stuff then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like that. So you said that you had a warehouse. Is the warehouse, but before you started the store that you did your shipping out of for Luke's old stuff? Is it? Are you in the same location? Is it still like a big warehouse, or did you move?
Oh no. So
Our store is very small. It's up a level of stairs, and then we've got our store. Then you can go up some more stairs, and we've got a small gaming space where people can book tables. But out the back of our store is where our warehouse is, and it's like bigger than our store.
it's massive. The warehouse is massive, but it's up a thin flight of stairs, so like no pallets, right?
Oh,
So it's a ball ache. Upstairs is like the gaming room, but also doubles up as my studio. So my lights are in there and stuff, but I have to shovel that shit to the side. Then people can play. There's a couple of tables up there, so that doubles up there. But then we have like an outhouse as well, like that we use, which is shit, like rickety, like holes in the walls, whatever. But it's fine now. Like it's like a bit of work on it. It's a bit dry and stuff. So that's where like we tend to distribute from. Is not the shop if pallets are coming in. If it's like just us packing shop stuff, it's the shop. If it's like distribution stuff, it's from an outhouse. Like which we're quite fortunate really to have access to.
That's like a lot of space, actually.
Yeah, so it's
That's
pretty
nice.
good.
In America, the term outhouse means an old a bathroom that didn't have plumbing. So when you said we have an outhouse, I just imagined
Toilet.
a toilet, which is just a hole in the ground with shit in it, and you're like, we just put it out in the outhouse. I'm like,
Just flushing people's products down. Yeah, did you send that? Yeah, I sent
Or
it. Yeah.
dropping it down the pit,
Yeah,
really, is what it is.
yeah. I sent it all and just keep flushing it down.
why do my space marines smell like poo?
It's like more like a shed, like this space, right? Like it's like a big,
Okay.
you know, like a. Irish people just love having like work sheds.
It was
Yeah.
a turf shed. It's a converted
Yeah.
turf shed.
But like every Irish house, like an old man has like a workshop.
Yeah.
Like they just
Or
love that.
outside in the garden.
In the garden,
Yeah.
workshop.
Just get away from all the screaming kids. I think that's probably it. Right?
Yeah,
I want one now.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Like, what, barring buying a product and then like it being outdated when it arrived to you, what was like the least performant thing you bought for the store where you were like hyped about it? You're like, oh, this is gonna sell like hotcakes, and then it just fucking went nowhere. They both just, for the audio listeners, they both just looked at each other and smiled.
What
And
would
it's like, do we shit on this thing? And the answer is fucking yes.
What would I get rid of if I could just get rid of it all and go back in time?
that too. Yeah, that too. Like maybe not even an expectation, but it just didn't sell well, and it was just like a waste of space.
Kings of War.
Kings of War.
Kings of War.
Romantic.
It's a fun game. It's easy.
You really enjoy the game.
Yeah.
It's not the game we have an issue with. It's just nobody's.
It's just not big enough, so it just doesn't sell. So I've got like a shit ton of that. Like I'd love to just get rid of it all.
But
Yeah.
I think
Do you
the
want
problem with Kings of War is
You want
want
it?
it.
No,
We
no.
are trying to get rid of it. It's
Yeah.
20%
How many more
off
sales
if
can we
anyone
do?
wants to log
Like,
onto the website.
yeah. Buy Kings of War,
But
people.
they don't update it very often, which is kind of why people like it, I think, because it's not like Games Workshop where you constantly have to redo your army.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to redo your army, people buy their army once and they're set for life, so they don't need to come back and buy more off us.
So-
you
Yeah.
know?
You know, that's the problem, right? People, like, for a shop, like Games Workshop, like, we live and die a little bit on Games Workshop pre-orders. If it's like some mad Space Marine week or Big Tyranid week or Big Box Set week, good for us. If it's like Age of Sigmar, then Necromunda, then Warcry, like, that's 3, like, lean weeks, right? That's beans. That's eating beans for the week.
Wow. So it's
You know what I mean?
it's that specific.
It can really hurt. Yeah, like, you know, we have like,
Damn,
you have enough,
40K.
you can last a week or two, right? And then you go, oh shit, like the bills are coming in, the VAT bill's due now, rent's due, and you're like, we've had like 3 shit pre-order weeks.
Yeah.
Like, and like, say no Magic's come out, and Asmodee said, right, fuck you, you're not getting any Pokemon stuff. Then you're in trouble. Then you're like,
Asmodee does Pokemon
yeah, they do,
Yeah,
mate, they do
yeah.
everything. They literally, anything you buy that isn't Warhammer, basically, Asmodee do it.
other than Magic. That's
No, they do Magic. Wizards of the Coast do it, but Magic, Asmodee distributes
We
it.
get it from.
did Asmodee buy Wizards?
No, they just have the rights for the
the
distribution.
Oh,
So Star Wars, Marvel, Shatterpoint, Game of Thrones for a while, Fantasy Flight stuff,
All our cards.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, they all come from Asmodee, which is why like I hate them when they mess up because it's such a massive element of our shop. Like,
Dang.
so yeah, they do that. So when you have a couple of lean weeks, then you're like, oh shit, and then it comes around again, and you go like, the Leviathan box is here, thank God. Like,
Okay.
Yeah,
So do
there's
you-
been a lot of talk about Asmodee and monopolies.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
they have very much teetering on the edge. I would say over the edge of being
100%.
considered a monopoly, especially with a lot of these bigger games where you can't go to somebody else and be like, Asmodee's been screwing us for so long. I'm just going to go through this other distributor instead. And because of that, then they can have terrible customer service or not fulfill your orders or not deal with your pre-orders enough like they should because they know you have no other options.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
So let's hope that something big changes with that because it's kind of par for the course. Big stores, small stores, whatever. The only big benefit of like a bigger store is, well, instead of ordering 10 and you get 2, they ordered 200 and they got 50.
Right.
So you're still screwing somebody because
Yeah.
you have a bigger customer base, but it's just like, maybe
Not
you
getting none.
not
Exactly.
getting none.
Yeah, I think that's it. And like they literally own everything, like all the rights to sell everything. So like GameGenic, I remember messaging them, being like, "Oh, I'd love to have like one of your big stands, like the card sleeves and stuff." And they go, "Oh, yeah, just talk to Asmodee." I'm like, do I have to?
Yeah.
And then like, yes. And then you go, "Can I have one of those big things?" They go, "No, we haven't got any." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. So I just won't have a display rack now then. Like, how do I get that?
Wow.
If you're watching this video, GameGenic, give me one of your big racks. Where do I get it from? I don't know. I want one. Like, do you know what I mean? Someone.
Want sleeves and card boxes. This is what people will buy.
That's what people buy.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I have a hard-hitting question. Do you carry food and drink in your shop to sell?
We have drinks.
We have drinks, yeah. I think if we had more space, yes, I'd like to do more food stuff. But right now, we do like drinks and snacks, right? Like, and that
Do you have like a microwave?
we
I took it home. 'cause I knew-
Okay. You can run a pizza shop out of your store, and then people can order pizzas while they're playing.
It's what you've talked about before.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally a pizza shop?
Yeah, just to have like, well, I used to run pubs back in the UK as well, so like got a bit of experience with like food and drink and stuff. But yeah, imagine having like a couple of pizza ovens, knocking
If
out
we had the
pizzas.
space, we would absolutely.
Yeah, if I got a new shop, my dream shop would be like a big like event space, function space with like bit of food. Like don't run it as a pub because I hate doing that, but like have the option to even sell like a few beers or whatever, like a license. Because when events are on and there's like 60 people in there in that hotel, and there's like couples coming down, there's maybe 90 people there. They're loving life, right? The hotel does. I get a piece of that, but like it'd be nice to have all that on hand and like keep it all in house and like it all supports everything. Then like the YouTube supports the shop, which supports your Twitch, which supports the family, which supports whatever. It's all kind of hand in
That's sort
hand.
of the end goal, though,
Yeah,
is to have that.
yeah.
Wow, okay. That's a great question. The end goal. Okay, so I'm kind of curious more about that, and if you could be more specific. What are some of your future goals for 1 year away, 5 years away, 10 years away? Do you think about that in that terms, or you kind of just have like a list of things you're hoping to get to at some point?
Overworked, so I have an early death and then get a day off. I think that's my.
Wow, that's fucking dark.
That's the big plan. Yeah, stress-induced aneurysm or something.
Kill
right?
me.
Please. Yeah, whoops, help. No. Yeah, I think that's kind of the end goal, right? At some point, I don't know what's
Death? What? What's that?
that's the end goal for all of us.
Oh, okay.
Immortalized as no.
How do you get there? What's step one? Obviously, you don't just get there overnight.
What is the next step?
Like, what
So
would
we
the
need
first thing you
to
would do?
decide whether we're going to move to a bigger store or open another store and keep the small one we have in
Okay.
a different town. I mean,
Yeah,
Oh,
moving to a
second
bigger
store.
town, right? Is
Yeah.
big step. Bigger town, somewhere like central, bit easy for people to get to. Like has a bit more of like a vibrant like double uni scene or something. Somewhere I can like where I am now. There's no point in me doing the backspace up and having 30 tables because I won't fill them.
Yeah.
Waste time, waste investment. No point. Might as well go somewhere bigger. So go somewhere bigger, have a bigger store where we have a few more in-house bits. Like I want to run my own events, not from a hotel, right? Which is like a big outlay cost to do. Sure, it's nice and fancy and that, but like, do you know what I mean? Keep things in-house a little bit more. That would definitely be something. I mean, for us, now with, another family member on the way, kind of, with you being my like number one. Do you know what I mean?
Number one employee,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, like
I'll be out.
Number one in life, yeah.
losing you there
Yeah.
is it going to be a hit, right?
Yeah.
Because like.
So we're considering me taking more of an admin role and not being in the shop as much and having somebody else in the shop.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have to do something. But I think that's going to be tough for me for the next.
There's a lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah.
I think.
What are your brothers doing? They seem like trustworthy.
Oh my God,
gentlemen.
I try. I know Joe will watch this. Joseph, get over to Ireland now.
Yeah.
Like, I would like, even with the YouTube side, like, it's just me. Like, how great would it be to have like some help? But like, I can't afford it, right? Like, it's just too much. I don't make enough content as it is. So like, what am I going to do? Pay an editor to do one video a month? Like, not going to happen. So like, yeah, I'd love to get like my brother over and like he can do content with me. Like, he's done a few videos. He's in the last one. Like, trust him completely, or both my brothers. Do you know what I mean? Like, and do that. But they kind of do their own thing in the UK a little bit. But every day, every time I see him, chip away, Do you know what I mean? Oh, there's
Okay.
there's a few hours here for you and a few hours here.
Okay.
I think. But it's
We'll get there eventually.
yeah. One day I'll catch him.
Am I making this up, or did I? Maybe this is like an alternate universe in my head, but like that your mom watches the shop sometimes.
She did. We have
Okay.
someone else that helps us now, but yeah, she helped a lot.
Okay, I seem to remember this story of on your Twitch stream or something of your mom coming to watch the shop, and I just picture like a nice little Irish lady that doesn't know anything about these little plastic toy soldiers.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And just I just think
She's
it's
super
great.
friendly though.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and she's very capable. So she doesn't need to know about the products. She just
Yeah.
needs to know how to work the till and how to talk to people. And
Yeah.
she's great. She loved it.
Outsold us loads of times, didn't she?
Yeah.
Put your mum on the
yeah.
sat, like, God
The
damn, your mum's doing
charisma.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a bit, doesn't she? I think it'd be,
Oh, they help us out so much, even with the distribution and stuff. They take in orders because it's out kind of where their house is. So if we're not there, they'll take it in for us. And
Yeah.
yeah, they help us a lot. We're very
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah. You gave me some wisdom for me, and I would love to maybe share some advice with you about what it feels like you're juggling right now. What it feels like is you have this giant goal, which is massive, and it feels, for me, when I have this giant black box, it feels unattainable. But what Jon taught me to do is you really have to sit down and do this, which it feels like a waste of time, but you have to sit down and think about actual actionable steps to get there and like what their reasonable time frames are, and then think about when the thing needs to happen. Then you can figure out what the schedule for doing those small actionable steps, because like when I think about fulfilling a Kickstarter, that's massive and it stresses me out, and it's like I can't do that in a work day, so I'm just not going to do it at all until it becomes a fire and I have to deal with some small part of it, and I'll like cut a piece off and then do it and then like go back until it becomes a fire again. But if I can like really figure out what like the actionable steps are to get where I want to go and then do them over time, it can feel like you're accomplishing things. It can feel better, and it can feel like it's not a big mysterious thing that you don't know how to accomplish yet.
Yeah, time management.
You probably knew that already.
No, that is wisdom. Yeah, that is wisdom. Yeah, time management for me is really bad.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like-
as for me as well. Yeah.
But I don't know how to fix that. Like there isn't more time,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like, just do whatever needs doing and
Yeah.
then worry about something else later. But like that doesn't feel good. I think we're at a bit of a jumping point, right? Like if Ireland wasn't so like ridiculously expensive right now for everything, I think like a move would be good. I think it would be like I can like reset. Do you know, like going into like a new place, you get like you learn stuff in step whatever venue 1 or studio 1. You go, I wouldn't do that again, but this worked, and I do this, and like stuff like better situated. But even like losing time because I shared the shop with the studio, that wasn't the original plan. That wasn't what happened to begin with. And then it's like, okay, now like it takes me like half an hour to clear it away, half an hour to get it back out again, set stuff up, and like that's like an hour of my day gone on moving stuff around, right?
Yeah. Does it feel like it's kind of just like a moving boulder and you can't really stop it at all?
A little bit, yeah. Like what would we do if we wanted to get off a ride? Like just stop everything, stop doing YouTube videos, stop doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know how.
Jump off a cliff into
Yeah.
the ocean.
No, you just overwork and die.
How would I do that?
That was your solution.
And that's step back to what we said 5 minutes ago. Yeah, just overwork and death. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know. I think you're right. I think I'm having a bit more business plan. I think I did that, and I've kind of achieved that bit of business plan. I've not really gone any further. Now we're just sort of like trying different things. Like we'll try distribution. Maybe we just hate it, doesn't work out, whatever. We'll do something else. But I feel like multifaceted incomes is the only way I can like realistically, stably support a family, right? Like, and that's the concern. Like, it's a big concern, isn't it? Like, like what do we do? I can't not like I myself can just live off toast, right? But like, can't expect you and the house and the kids now. Like, your income comes from the shop. So like, I can't let you down there. That has to happen. It has to get paid. Other employees have to get paid rent. So I often myself feel like I come a little bottom of the rung. Like if there's something there, I'll take it. If not, deal with it later. So it feels like I work a lot for what can be nothing sometimes too.
Dang,
Which
yeah.
can be.
Is that a mental burden?
I've not thought about it till just now. Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't really think about that kind of stuff.
Do you avoid thoughts like that because you don't want to have that moment of like, fuck,
Sometimes
my life sucks, like.
Yeah, like it's great.
No,
on some days.
I totally feel what you're feeling. I didn't mean to say your life
Yeah.
sucks, but like it is a lot easier.
Sounds like it sucks.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of work at the very least. But yeah, like I will avoid painful thoughts. Like I mentioned yesterday, like I like my relationship with like Christianity is one of apathy. Like I just don't want to think about it because it's painful to think about, right? And so it's like I could see that with any kind of responsibility, just kind of avoiding it because it's painful and you don't have like an immediate solution. I'm going to do this, like yesterday. I had to wait like an hour for my editor to show up so I could start shooting a video because I needed him for that particular video. And like I could have probably like answered some emails that were like required me to have thoughtful responses. But what I did instead was I was like, okay, you guys are showing up. I'll clean up my office a little bit. And I got like so roped into like doing cable management on some dumbass thing that you're never going to see. I get so hyper focused on this dumb task. It's so easy to just forget about all the things that I don't want to have to solve in that moment. So like I do feel that if that is something you're kind of like having to have to deal with, kind of just avoiding the painful questions.
I think we're related.
Yeah.
I feel exactly that.
Am I your brother?
Yeah. You're my
I don't want to come
dad.
to Ireland.
Dad. Someone, dad. Daddy.
You gotta work at the shop 3 days a week now.
Yeah, you're in. Thanks, brother. Yeah, do some videos for me.
I will die.
Yeah, no, it does feel like I feel like exactly that. Like I end up doing like stuff like I should be doing. But I do it all the time when I come in the shop. Like I'll be filming today, and then I'm like, end up like
That drives me mad.
you pull at a string and you go, oh, like you end up doing something else, and like you say, it turns into this massive job as well. I'm like, oh, I'll just fix that, and I go, oh, but if I fix that, it's like that Malcolm in the Middle sketch, with the dad, like goes to change the light bulb, and he ends up fixing the car.
Yeah.
It's like that, and you go,
Yeah, everything's connected.
yeah. I pull that and I go, I need to do this, and I'm over there, and then like behind me is this like load of shit that I've not fixed, but I'm like doing whatever it is at the end.
But that's why we're going to rejig all the shop hours when we go back. We've talked about it a lot because we had planned it around you being able to film and me taking on most of the work. But it's not working out because what happens is we'll both go into work, and obviously the studio's upstairs, so he'll book out the studio for himself, just meaning no one can book in for a game that day, but he will just get too distracted with work things the whole day. He won't film anything because he'll be like, I'll just email this, or I just need to put that away, I just get, we need to chase up this guy, which I can do it all, but you just get so distracted because you're at work basically. So we're going to try and rejig that a bit so that maybe he doesn't come in to work until later in the evening, and that way the shop will then close and he has no choice but to film.
Double work.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely get that.
But it's adapting, isn't it? It's like it grows. So as we change and your personal situation changes, like life changes, you need to like keep every like Christmas time or New Year actually, I like reassess, like, right, what's going on? Where are we? Are we miserable? No. Okay, let's do this. If not, what changes do we make to change that? So at least try and keep, like, you have to reassess that. You can't stagnate. I think if you're not looking to improve, even same with YouTube or anything, if you're not looking, or any job probably, if you're not looking to like improve, you're probably not going to get like where you want to go if you want to go somewhere. If you decide you don't want to do it, get off, find something else. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like YouTube is such an agile workplace that it feels like there's no time for retrospective to think about, okay, I did this thing, did it work out? What did I learn from it? All right, let's move forward with that learning lesson. It's almost no time. You kind of just throw it over the fence and then like, forward, let's go. And so making time for that is really important and smart.
Yeah.
I think it's what I like to always do is to tie it back to our individual hobby at home. And I think that a lot of things you're talking about, Ollie, are actually pretty relatable for most people also in their own personal lives or their business lives, but also with a hobby. How often do you, listener or watcher, go over to sit down at your painting desk to start building a model and you realize, oh, I had everything put away. Now I got to set it all back up before I can start. Or now I just start to organize. Now these paints are they in the right order? Or where did I put that sandpaper or the clippers? Or like you end up doing everything but the thing that you came there to do in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's really relatable. And I think just as people, we tend to do that a lot. And even not only from our own professional lives, but also it kind of spills over into our hobby as well. So I think that's really relatable. Especially when we're talking about your business is the hobby, that it's like, oh yeah, it all kind of comes together in the end that same way.
Yeah.
One more thing that I wanted to touch base on is I think that with you guys welcoming a new baby in the world, congratulations. By the way, that this is a wonderful time of reassessment where you're going to obviously have to kind of condense a little bit. And everything will be new there, the new baby at home and your time and all that kind of thing. But from there, you'll have found just keeping the core things going. And then you'll figure out okay, which things that we shrunk down, are we fine being shrunk? That we don't need to bring back to what they were. Or we realized this extra thing, maybe with this extra time we have as you come back more, we want to push more. And so I think it will be a great time for growth after kind of bringing things in. I keep doing this with my hands a lot. I feel like Donald Trump, where he just does this with his hands. Great guy.
Yeah. Well, this is an awesome conversation. Thank you for being here. Where do people find you on the internet? I know you got Twitches, you got YouTube, you got Instagrams. Is there a web store for the shop? Like, where do people find you?
BroadswordWargaming.com.
Okay.
If you're in
nice.
the EU, go there.
Okay. All right. Cool.
That's my big message.
Okay.
I'm on Instagram and Twitch as Ciara Elbenblood.
Okay.
All my links are on there.
We'll have it all linked below in the show notes as well if you want to have an easy time getting it. But yeah, cool, guys.
Thank
Be on
you
the
for
show.
having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I feel like I got deep.
It's like a therapy session.
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels like I got deep. Do you know what I mean? I don't talk about this stuff very much.
I love that.
So it's weird to talk about. Do you know what I mean? So sorry if that was emotional.
That was exactly the conversation that I wanted to have. So
really?
That was perfect. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
I apologize if Ollie is a mopey bitch for the rest of the holiday.
You've broken me.
Nothing can get this guy down. Have you seen him?
You broke me.
He's just crying into his chicken tenders later. It's just gonna be-
Tendies.
That's a choice we have to make. Where we're going to go for lunch.
I know.
I don't know if we got to make it right now on this recorded podcast, but
no viewers. This is something we are going to seriously discuss.
This is more important.
I think you're going to have to edit out my stomach rumbles from the last half an hour or so.
You want a 2-hour eating schedule.
right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Today's episode is also brought to us by Ravage Star, the tabletop miniatures war game, which is brought to us by Mini Wargaming and Lazy Squire Games.
Ravage Star is a fast-paced strategic tabletop game that uses fun cards to keep track of your unit's stats and abilities.
Mini Wargaming has gone with the classic 32mm heroic scale, and the minis are cast in hard PVC plastic and come pre-assembled, so you don't have to mess around with the assembly. You can just get right to painting and gaming.
This campaign is the successor to a previous one that introduced the world of the veil-touched corrupted soldiers, hell-bent on destroying everything in their reach.
This campaign introduces 2 new factions, the Gorkog, nightmarish monsters who resemble bugs but have a cruel precision to their tactics.
And the Amari, dwarves who have survived tragedy and persevered against insurmountable threats.
So for this campaign, Mini Wargaming are selling big boxes in 2 different options, the Battle Packs and the War Packs.
The 4 battle packs are army builders, while the 3 war packs are 2-player starter sets that come with the squad cards, measuring tools, various tokens, and the Ravage Star rulebook.
The campaign goes live on GameFound on November 7th, but you're going to want to act quickly because it's only live for 8 days, 8 hours, 8 minutes, and 8 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's a corn thing.
In honor of the Blood God. Thank you to Ravage Star, tabletop miniature wargame by Mini Wargaming for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. If you want to check out all their cool stuff, you can find it linked in the video description or show notes below, depending on where you're watching. Now on to the end of the episode. Welcome to the end of the podcast. Thank you for lasting all the way to the end. We appreciate your patience with us and our shouting and screaming and Irish accents and all manner of nonsense.
Welcome.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't get to do, we didn't get Ciara to tell us her favorite English word in an English accent. Can you say that word for us, please?
What is it?
Wait.
You think American word? An American accent?
Oh, American word. American word in American
Yeah,
accent.
cool. What have you been saying all weekend?
Ranch.
That will also be a soundbite on our board.
Ranch.
I mean, I felt like I was in a diner in Texas right there. Of like, what do you want with your, with your pizza? And they're like,
Ranch.
Now, let's go. Let's take off our shirts, drink beers, and shoot guns out the back of trucks.
yeah,
Let's do that now.
Yeah, okay. And then we fill up shot glasses to drink and we have with the beer chaser. But what is going to be in the shot glasses?
Ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just drink it. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
lost
Next
it
is
now.
shooting guns and driving around in large pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have pickup trucks in Ireland?
No.
Not the same size as you guys, no.
It'll have a goat in the back of it as well. Like
A goat, yes.
You'll have pickup truck with
I
some.
don't think your cars would fit down our roads.
No.
You can drive in John's Batman mobile on the way to the restaurant.
I felt that
it's
in
gigantic.
in Nottingham. I was like,
Oh yeah, no
my
way.
truck wouldn't fit in these roads.
No way. Yeah.
Truck.
And it's not that big. It's big, but it's like
Making up for
nap
something.
in the back on the way.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so we're about to do some American things, which means eating deep fried foods and using up all the petrol. Those are the things we're gonna
World petrol.
Yeah.
Remind everybody again where to find you and on the internets. to buy things and to have fun hobbying.
Yeah, broadswordwargaming.com.
Broadsword.
Broadsword.
But spelt properly.
Okay, not BRODE. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys for being on the podcast, for flying all the way to Minnesota just for this.
Yeah, that's all
Only
you're doing.
Yeah. We really appreciate that. We love having guests on. It's always so much fun to kind of hear different perspectives, learn about what it's like to run a shop. We don't get to do that, so we have no idea. We just guess, right? So it's cool to hear that perspective. So thanks a lot for that. If you guys like the show and you want to support it, there are a couple ways to do that. If you don't got any money to spend, there are a couple free ways. You can whitelist our channel on YouTube with various browser add-ons. We play an ad every 30 minutes.
Oh, YouTube don't like that no more.
What?
Have you seen that?
No.
Have you guys seen that?
Ad blocking and stuff.
No,
Yeah.
YouTube now, just this week, was just like, you have an ad blocker, turn it the fuck off.
Yeah, and then I hit X, and then I just move on with my life.
Yes.
But then it stopped showing up. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it is a little bit weird. Okay, so maybe that's not very valuable. But other options are giving us a review wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that's on YouTube itself or Google Podcasts, telling your nerd friends about our podcast and sharing it around. If you got some cash to spend, you can support us on Patreon, where you get access to another extended 20 to 30 minutes of podcast episodes. If you can handle more of this, there's more of that available to you. We talk about things like new techniques we tried out in the past, models from other painters that we like and appreciate in the last 2 weeks that we found, and then finally we give feedback to one of our patrons as part of that extended segment as well. If you don't like Patreon, you can also buy our merch on Teespring. Fun things like t-shirts. We have 3 unique designs, joggers, cups, all kinds of stuff, all linked down in the show notes below.
Man, that was an awful lot, but we got through it.
It was.
Scott is he has that memorized so well. But every time he does it, it sounds like heartfelt and unique.
I know.
Because he changes up just a little bit.
That's the shill in me.
He's on autopilot. That's it for today, and we will catch you on the
Flippity flop.